Hello, good people of the internet. I hope you can hear me out there because I haven't actually done production in quite some time. Because you folks haven't seen me, you've had other people. But yeah, my name is Brandon Crilly. If this is your first time joining us for Bag of Giving, or it's your first time having me as your production person, I am one of the two founders and organizers of Bag of Giving, which is our little typically bi-monthly charity stream that we do here on Arv's channel. Many thanks to Arv or Greg Wilson, who is our generous host here, letting us provide content here on his stream. If you've never seen our little program before, like I said, Bag of Giving is this charity stream that I put together with Mike Underwood, who you're probably also very familiar with. And what we do is we bring together creative folks, typically authors from all over the place, to play one-shots of tabletop RPGs to kind of get together, mix of players who are very familiar with RPGs and not so familiar with RPGs. Yeah, we get together, have some fun, play some games, roll some dice, as well as spotlight good causes. So for those of you that are watching at home and enjoying our game today, I'm going to mention very quickly before I turn it over to our lovely players tonight that we have a prize wall on our website. We draw giveaway winners every month. If you donate to one of our Spotlight charities, you can win prizes off of our prize wall. We've got a bunch of books and games and all sorts of cool stuff donated by our lovely, some of our lovely players and friends in the community. So that is something you can do if you go and check on our site. And so that's that. So if you go and check that out, I'll probably talk about it a little bit more after the break. If you go check that out, that would be excellent. But the reason why we're here tonight is not just to spotlight good causes. We're here to have some fun and play a game. I'm going to turn things over very shortly to our lovely party who I have just interrupted in the Zoom call to give them a fair warning that we're about to go live. Tonight we're playing Brindlewood Bay with some lovely author players, and I kid you not, our GM for tonight, Sharang, actually wrote for this friggin' game. We're playing one of his scenarios, which is going to be sweet. So I'm going to turn things over to them. I hope you folks enjoy our game tonight of Brindlewood Bay.
Giving us authors attention, which is what we all crave all the time. But also, thank you for donating to the good causes that we've been putting up, that the team has been putting up all year, more than a year, a long time. Thank you. And we encourage you to keep doing so if you are able, because that's why we're all here, apart from the attention that we crave as authors. Tonight, we're playing Brindlewood Bay by Jason Cordova. Brindlewood Bay has an earlier edition that we're using mainly, but their Kickstarter just ended. I encourage you to look it up. It's a brilliant game. I was one of the writers of the mysteries for the game, so it has a soft spot in my heart, obviously, self-serving in that way, but it is a brilliant game. I've written about it in non-fiction context as well. We're going to do a quick round of intros for who we all are. I'm Sharang Biswas. I am a game designer, writer, and interactive artist. I'm normally based in Manhattan. This summer, I am visiting faculty at Dartmouth College in their media studies and film department, teaching game stuff and storytelling stuff. Erin.
Oh, God. I'm Erin Rockfort. I am an Ottawa-based writer. I also am affiliated with CanCon. I'm one of the people who does the panels. Programmer, that's the word. I have a story out in Translunar Travelers Lounge and an upcoming story in the Nothing Without Us 2 anthology.
Whoops, thank you, Erin. David.
Okay, I'm David Demchuk. I am a horror writer, award-winning, award-nominated horror writer. I also am part of the CanCon programming team this year, and I have been living in Toronto for decades, but I am shortly probably going to be living in St. John's, and that's where I'm coming to you from tonight.
And Dave.
Hey, I'm not Canadian. My name's Dave Ring. I'm a writer, editor, and publisher of Neon Hemlock Press. And I think the thing I want you most to know is that tomorrow, our first collection comes out, All the Hometowns You Can't Stay Away From by Izzy Wasserstein, which I'm very excited about and hyped to play this game. I once prepped a whole scenario and had a Pinterest board full of hot old people, and I was ready to run my own game, and it fell apart last minute, and I'm very delighted to be playing it one.
Yay! So we have 3 different nationalities represented here. One of them being Canadian and the other 2 not Canadian. How exciting. Great. So as a note, so this is a game about elderly lady detectives in a small seaside town of Brindlewood Bay. But if you play a campaign of this, it's all about cozy murder mystery, which is a bit of an oxymoron, but play the game or watch the game today and you'll figure out what we mean. But as the game progresses, as in over many sessions, the game becomes more and more supernatural horror. So note for viewers and players that we will be touching on, obviously, themes of murder and some supernatural horror, which might include gruesome-ish small moments of grues. Grues should be a noun. Grues is gruesome, right? There will be small moments of grues that may come up. We are using the X card mechanic by John Stavropoulos. So if we say something that one of the players would rather not have in the game, they will say X card and make an X hand gesture. And we will not ask them, what a wuss, why are you X carding that? We might ask them, what did you X card? And then we will undo that or elide over that, or we will just try and push that out of our game. And that is a mechanic that I can also use as a GM. And John Stewart always says, the first person to use an X card, I will buy them a drink, but I do not live close to any of you. Though Dave did promise me a writer's retreat in some point. So next time we go to that thing, I will buy him a drink, or I'll buy him a drink in honor of one of you if you use the X card. Great, he gets a drink anyway.
I'm doing great.
Today we're playing a mystery from the Nephews in Peril book, who I think is going to be in the core book after the Kickstarter, called Lies and Dolls, or A Very Brief Tenure. I did not come up with the title, as Dave knows very well. I'm like, editors, please come up with a title for me. I hate titles. So Jason Cordova came with the title, which I was very happy with. He loves these punny titles for this game. So yeah, so that's going to be a mystery, but let us introduce our 3 mavens first. So our mavens are, again, elderly ladies who are in the small town. They're part of a book club where they read exclusively the Amanda de la Cour Gold Crown Mysteries, or maybe it's American, it'll be Amanda de la Court Gold Crown Mysteries, a series of mystery novels with very Mary Sue detective Amanda de la Cour, who is good at everything and solves all the mysteries. And because these mavens have read so many of these books, they're very good at solving local murders. And they have done so a few times already when this game starts. So let us, I would request it, when I call your name, say your character, say what profession she used to have before she retired, describe a loved one who is no longer with you for whatever reason, and after you're done, change your Zoom name, please. So let's start with Erin.
Okay, I am playing Maggie Valdez. She is a retired coroner, and she also has a husband who died about 15 years ago under mysterious circumstances.
Ooh. I'm going to say mystery husband death. Perfect. And the default assumption is that characters are using she, her pronouns. If they do not, let me know. Okay, so that is Maggie Valdez. Okay, let's go with David.
So my character's name is Sauvignon Blanc, and she is a former editor of a regional fashion and lifestyle magazine. And her deceased partner's name is Paloma Picata, who was herself a renowned chef in all media.
Okay. I want to say dead chef wife.
Dead chef wife, that works.
Okay. And Dave. So David, if you change your name, and then Dave.
Yeah, my name is Ruthie McIntyre. I'm a former office manager for a hotline. Did you want us to share a cozy activity, or did I make that up?
Not yet.
Save it. So, loved ones are my late wives, Gladys and Simone.
Ah,
Gladys plus Simone. Who was the first wife?
Well, no, like they were together and then I joined them.
Okay. Love that.
Gladys
Okay.
and Simone.
Perfect. And what was your first name again, Dave?
Ruthie McIntyre.
Ruthie. Perfect. Okay. So now, each of us, each of the mavens, I was about to say old biddies, but I'm like, I don't know if that's polite. Each of the mavens has a cozy activity that they like to indulge in at home. Can be anything from bird collecting, I don't know, bird watching, stamp collecting. I got a bit like confused by that. Bird watching or stamp collecting or pottery or watching 70s amateur porn. Anything you want that feels cozy to you, right? What's Maggie's activity?
Maggie likes to do pottery, oftentimes of things that you would perhaps not want to display in a safe for work environment.
So as the show Friends called it, erotery.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Love that.
Or sometimes just normal pots, but they have swear words on them.
Love that. Okay. What about Sauvignon?
Sauvignon likes to knit. I will be knitting as part of this evening's presentation.
Yeah.
Probably badly, since it's been a little while, but I kind of know what I'm doing.
I met a cute boy recently at my gay swimming club who likes knitting, and I'm like, oh, well, hello.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. And what about Ruthie?
I am a soon-to-be famous painter.
Ooh. Okay. So in full-on character creation, we would be doing a process where each of us assigns every other player a cozy object at home.
Right.
We're to speed this up for today. Each of you is going to assign one player a cozy object, and then I will assign each of you a cozy object to be faster. Okay. So I'm going to start with Maggie Valdez, whose husband died mysteriously, a retired coroner. She has a cozy object because she had a coroner intern once. And when the intern or apprentice, that kind of thing, resident, I don't know, when the person graduated from the internship, the cozy object, they gave you a present, and it is it's a little makeup compact, but decorated all over it are satin flowers that she sewed herself.
Oh.
And attached to the outside of this little compact mirror.
Lovely.
Great. And Maggie, assign Sauvignon a cozy object based on what you heard about Sauvignon.
Well, because I know that Sauvignon loves knitting, I got her a beautiful bowl to hold the yarn.
Oh. That's lovely.
Yes. And it has an image, a beautiful hand-painted image of a bull on it in bright colors.
Nice. Sauvignon bull. Okay, yes. Love that. Okay, so Sauvignon, who has a dead chef wife, has a hand-annotated book of medieval French recipes that your wife was really into, like at home, like I want to learn historical recipes. And she annotated like, oh, what does this measurement actually mean in modern measurements? And oh, this species of apple is now extinct, but this is another breed that is probably best to use, and things like that.
Yes.
And maybe you cook with it. It's a cozy object for you. Sauvignon, assign an object to Ruthie.
Well, Ruthie as a painter might like a hand-knitted beret. So I have given her a hand-knitted beret to try to bring out her artistic side.
Nice, nice. Love that.
To try.
Well, you know. You're getting there. You're getting there.
Because you're soon to be famous. It's for that.
Yes, you're not famous yet. This will be the charm.
Love that. Ruthie, her late wives Gladys and Simone, loved buying chess sets that were all shaped like animals. And so your favorite one, or the one that they loved a lot, so you kept it because they loved it, where one side was all like underground animals, like like moles and voles and naked mole rats and earthworms and things.
Of course.
And the other side was all aerial animals, like crows and flying squirrels and
Keep naming aerial animals, Sharang.
Yeah, those. And things that leap. Lemmings, for some reason, are in there.
Bats.
Okay. the bats. There we go. Bats. Thank you. Thank you, David. So you have this amazing chest set, and they're all carved of really lovely wood.
Ooh.
And Ruthie can assign one to Maggie.
Maggie. Prior to it becoming Sauvignon Blanc's thing, I briefly explored knitting, and then she moved in on my territory. But before it happens, I first knitted you a little, it's like a lilac number. It's like it's a knitted shrug.
Okay.
So it, it goes down to like the middle of your back. It's very warm for that one part of you that it covers.
For just the upper back.
Yep.
Lovely.
Love that. And so the cozy items can be used once in the campaign. You can tick it off and use it to get advantage on a die roll, which means you roll one extra die and take the two highest. Okay? It doesn't mean you lose the object. But it means you cannot get mechanical benefit from it again. There are exceptions. Some special things give you special cozy objects that don't get ticked, but we'll get to that. Okay, so you have those, 2 objects each. Use them in this one shot. Now, each of you has a Maven move. So Jason has written a bunch of special Maven moves. Each Maven takes one of them. They're all named after famous fictional detectives. And he has promised that in the new version, there are a bunch of new Maven moves, some of which actually recognize the famous fictional detectives. So that's exciting, because I'm foreign and younger than some people on this call. Would everyone read out the Maven move that you picked, starting with Maggie?
Yeah, so in keeping with Maggie's background as a coroner, the Maven move I have taken is Arquincy. Do you want me to explain what that is, or are we gonna?
Why don't you read it out? Because I do like some of the flavor text.
Sorry?
Read it out.
Why don't you read out the move? I like some of the flavor text for some of the moves.
Okay.
And we can show off Jason's writing.
So it says Arquincy's is you have a medical background, describe it, coroner. Then add medical bag to your cozy little place. When you use it to get an advantage on a die roll, leave it unmarked.
So you can use the medical bag more than a few times. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's
most cozy items you use exactly once.
okay.
Okay. But of course, you have a specific one only for medical reasons, right? Unless you want to swing it and bash on the head with it, that's fine too. But I can take away cozy items as consequences for failed rolls. Just so you know.
Okay.
Sauvignon.
I have taken the Maven move Jonathan Hart, which is from the old TV series Heart to Heart. You used to live a glamorous jet set life, and you still have a touch of glamour about you that will never fade. Add +1 to your presence.
Perfect. So presence is a stat that measures like charisma and stuff.
Right.
So Sauvignon is just very glamorous with a dead chef wife and everything. And Ruthie.
I took the move Sonny Crockett. You want a particularly stylish outfit, a little number that makes people say wow when they see it. Describe the outfit and add it to your cozy little place. When you use the outfit to get an advantage on a die roll, leave it unmarked. And my outfit is my wig, Matilda.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Because Ruthie is a woman with a shaved head. So when she needs to feel a certain way about herself, she has Matilda.
Nice. Okay. I love that. I love that. I love that. So similarly to the medical bag, you can use that a couple of times. You have a ticket. Okay. Great. So I think that is all our character creation stuff. I'm going to close the Maven Moves document because you didn't pick any of the complicated ones which I have to refer to, like Fox Molder or things like that, which are the slightly complicated Maven Moves. So we're going to cut that out. Okay. Now, look at your character sheet. In the middle column, under end of session, you'll see a couple of questions. Those are things that give you experience. Now, of course, in our game, you will not be advancing his experience. However, Jason Morningstar has these to incentivize behavior, okay? So one of those end of session questions is marked. Did the murder maven solve a mystery? The other ones are unmarked. Every person pick 2 to mark. If you mark them, that means if you do any of the marked things this session, you get XP for each of them. And as you choose, I'll read them out. Did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official? Did you share your wisdom with a young person? Did you share a memory of a late family member? Did you behave like a woman half your age? Did you dote on someone? Or did you show someone that you've still got it? Okay, so everyone mark 2. So doing those behaviors will make, will give you experience. So do those behaviors. Yeah.
And that, just to clarify, that's if we did the ones that like we specifically marked.
Yes. Okay, and then next session you'd mark some more. And do those ones instead. So you put 1 tick and then you cross if you've done it, and then next session you can tick more and do those, and you do them until you've done all of them, then you erase them and start again. Okay, so we're gonna start. Every game starts with a little vignette while the credits of this show are rolling, like the name, you know, Brindlewood Bay and the lovely la 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 music. Each of us is shown doing something cozy in their house. So here, describe your style, like what you look like if you haven't already, and describe very quickly, very short, literally very short, a cozy thing you're doing as the starting credits are rolling. So starting with, and now presenting Brindlewood Bay. What do we see Maggie doing?
So Maggie is wearing at least 1 cardigan. And she is hunched over her pottery wheel and, moving. I don't know enough about pottery, but she's doing, she's moving her hands And it sort of starts to take a vaguely suggestive shape just before the camera cuts away.
Sauvignon.
I'm wearing one of my signature caftans because caftans are coming back. I am convinced, and I am sitting knitting a washcloth.
Ruthie.
I'm sipping a glass of wine, definitely not Sauvignon Blanc, and I'm standing in front of a painting. It's a little raunchy, and the camera pulls away, and it's an art show in a cafe, and no one is there but me.
Oh.
No, your friends might be there. These two.
Oh,
Eventually.
they're having coffee in the background. Yeah.
Ah, perfect.
Great. And then the like ending part. I don't know enough about music to decide what it's called, but you know that ending of the theme. And then the title of the mystery, Lies and Dolls, A Very Brief Tenure. So we start the scene at the Sunday outdoor fish market. Remember, this is a seaside town, Brindlewood Bay. And we're gonna plop us right in. Normally I'd be like, oh, what's going on? But like, no, for our lunch of today, we'll plop us right in. Every Sunday, the owners of Seaside Bed and Breakfast, which is a little bed and breakfast nearby, that is very famous for its shrimp croissant. They come to buy fresh shrimp and fish and things from this market. However, today they are not there. And as you're walking around, doing your own purchases or just gossiping, it's a fun place to walk around, catch up with people, gossip. You hear that they're being detained at the bed and breakfast by Sergeant Porterhouse, who is the local sergeant. He's this like portly man. He doesn't dislike you, but he calls you meddling old biddies because you like meddle a lot in the mysteries because you think you know better. But yeah, and so people are whispering like, oh yes, Sergeant Porterhouse was there. Yes, they won't be coming today, but does that mean they won't have their famous shrimp croissant? I can't do without their shrimp croissant. Oh, will I have their cheese croissant? But that's so passé now. And all these people are like gossiping around. What do you want to do?
Are the people around all French villagers?
Are they all French villagers?
No.
I'm just
No,
trying to
they're all Brindlewood Bay, American, Massachusetts villagers.
Yes. They just love that shrimp croissant. That's all.
Oh yeah, it's famous. It's one of the famed foods of Brindlewood Bay.
Perhaps you can order the salad Nicois instead.
Well, we should approach somebody to try to find out what is going on. It seems unlikely that Sergeant Porterhouse is going to tell us much, but is there someone in the vicinity that we could speak to?
Sure. Do you tell me a general kind of like old person, young person, shopkeeper? Just tell me something about this person.
I would say that there is very likely an old person who has been standing, someone close to our age, who has been standing in line for a little while in hopes of actually getting one of these shrimp croissants and probably has a fair amount of information, having observed what's been going on.
Perfect. So we are going to meet one of our first suspects.
Yes, exactly.
Lillian Atherton is an elderly grandmother known for her bushels of children and grandchildren. She is also known as a local history buff. She always wears these long floral dresses and clashing floral shawls. So it always looks, especially to Ruthie, who's very fashion conscious and knowledgeable, and to Sauvignon Blanc, who used to edit a fashion magazine. They're like,
yes.
And
I was just thinking she looked really stylish.
Sorry, say it again.
I was just thinking she looked really stylish.
Oh, so Ruthie thinks she looks very stylish. Sauvignon, you probably don't think she looks stylish.
I probably don't.
And Lillian after is like holding court among, some other women who are a little bit younger. They're like in their like late 40s. And she's like, of course, I respect men of learning, but their books are quite scandalous. We don't need that kind of thinking in this town, especially not in our beloved museums. Of course, that doesn't mean I would want some of the dead. Oh dear, absolutely not. But still, one must admit that some of that material was rather shocking, was it not? She's saying as you approach her, and the other women are just like nodding, like,
All right, well, I'll be brave and go up to her and ask first, of course, say, Lillian, what a wonderfully controversial combination of patterns you're wearing. I couldn't
As
help
you
but
say
over.
that, you see one of the other women was
Yes.
taking out a floral shawl, but as you say that, she puts it back in her bag.
That is wise of her. And Lillian, you seem to know so much about so many things except fashion. Could you tell us what is going on inside of the bed and breakfast? What exactly has happened?
Oh, well, you do know that nice group of students from the university from Boston
Yes.
came by. Well, it seems that their Professor James Edwards, if you happen to have met him in the local cafes recently. Of course you would have. There was that art show that some of you attended. Anyway, I love your face. Well, shocking, but, they were here to study at the Museum of Brindle Dolls with that curator of theirs, Dr. Chanel Brown. But anyway, so he was here with the class study, and, well, what would you know? He was found dead. Isn't that shocking?
It's
she makes
not
a
as
face.
shocking as what you're wearing, but it is unusual.
And she's like, well, anyway, this is most shocking now. Of course, I wasn't a fan of his book. After all, his book, he looks at you, The Modernization of Pastoral America. Very, very scandalous, actually. Much better, that other scholar who's in town, Dr. Mohan Subramaniam, and then someone else like Dr. Manmohan Subramaniam. And she says, yes, that man.
Did you just sneeze, honey? Do you need a tissue?
And she's like, oh, thank you very much. And well, that other handsome scholar, Dr. S, and then she looks around waiting for him to correct her, and no one does, she just keeps going. His book, A Rural History of America, is a little bit better. It keeps the charm and quaint atmosphere of our little town intact. But anyway, it's shocking, but Dr. Edwards was found dead. Oh, so shocking!
What exactly happened to him?
And so she says, oh, I'm not a detective, and I don't read detective novels and fancy myself one either. I'm sure I don't know. It's a far too shocking for a woman of my age, and she looks at the three of you pointedly, to involve myself in. I'm just relaying the news to the good folks of our lovely village, and all the middle-aged ladies around her are like nodding. Like,
Well, Lillian, that's very helpful. Thank you very much. We will try to find out more about what is going on in this town.
And she says, oh. And then as soon as he goes, she looks at you, which I'm gossiping with the other women. about like, and you can see she points at the three of you, like, and what you hear one of them say, "Husband died mysteriously. No one solved that since." And then 2 wives, both of them dead. What about the chef? All of them have dead spouses. Well, so do you, yes, but not mysteriously. He fell off a cliff. Weren't you there? Oh, that's not the point now. And all this gossip. So, you know, and this jogs your memory. You heard that that this doctor, Professor James Edwards,
Yes.
came with his class from the big university in Boston to study local history, but especially to study the Museum of Brindle Dolls, which is a doll museum in town. And he has been found dead. And you also know that there is another scholar in town at the same time who coincidentally happens to be a sort of academic rival to Dr. Edwards. His name is Dr. Manmohan Subramaniam.
Yes.
Now, all three of you, of course, know the Museum of Brindle Dolls, and each of you has heard a weird rumor, folktale, or ghost story about this museum and or its current curator, whose name is Dr. Chanel Brown. She's relatively new in town, a couple of years. She's very excited about revitalizing this museum. But all of you have heard a folktale, ghost story, rumor about this museum. Maggie, what have you heard? Because it's been here for as long as you guys have been alive, right?
So I have heard that one of the dolls that belongs in the museum was supposedly owned previously by a famous serial killer who has since been captured and imprisoned and whatnot. And somehow the doll made its way to the Museum of Brindlewood.
Yeah. Most of the dolls there are made by local artists and artisans, but they do have their special collection, which is a few other dolls, and that is part of the special collection. They say that if you shine UV light on it, you will see traces of blood and semen from the killer's last victim.
Yeah, spooky stuff.
Yeah. Sauvignon, what have you heard?
I have heard that a select number of dolls in a particular room sometimes seem to switch places in the night. So that when people come in, either staff or patrons, they find that the dolls have switched around.
Ooh, nice. And since there's only one gallery, it is in that gallery where it tends to happen.
Yes.
Nice. And Ruthie, what have you heard?
They're not really dolls.
Well, there you go. Thank you for that,
Great.
Ruthie.
Yeah,
You heard the
most of
story.
the dolls are not really dolls. They're something else. Love that. Okay, so how would you like to conduct your investigation? Remember, in this game, you're building up the search for clues. And as you find clues, you get closer to solving the mystery, which, if the viewers don't know, no one knows the answer. The writer of this mystery, me, the GM of this mystery, me, the players of this mystery are illustrious players over here. No one knows the answer. We generate the answer through play, which I think is a very powerful way of using the medium of games for storytelling. Sorry, I'm a games professor. I should cool it with that, but yes. Okay. So how are we conducting? Remember, there's the museum. There is the bed and breakfast. You can try and find some of the suspects. The students are in town. The other professor is in town. The curator of the museum is obviously around. All kinds of stuff.
Maggie would
You
love.
can talk to Porterhouse.
Yes.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yes.
That's okay. I was going to say Maggie would love to get a look at the body, mostly for investigative purposes. To see if there's any clues that can be found in the body, what happened to Professor Edwards.
I love that. So you know that in this small town, there is no formal coroner's office, so you didn't work here as a coroner. So there is no cold room for corpses. So whenever there needs to be one, which is surprisingly often recently, they use the local ice cream parlor, which has like a walk-in fridge room. Yeah, they put corpses in there in like a glass case. Because there's no other fridge big enough in town. No one has a fridge big enough in town.
That's
Maggie.
fine. I want a frap.
Okay, what is the local ice cream parlor's name, Dave?
That's me. Rocky Road.
Perfect. Rocky Road. And recently, so Brindlewood Bay is a town that's kind of stuck in the quaint touristy past for tourist reasons, for tourist dollars. But Rocky Road, they're like, no, we want to cater to the youth. So they have, from all the superhero media that's been coming out, they've taken the images, or not exactly the images because you don't want to have copyright infringement, but sort of images of all the heroes and villains that have rocks or earth or sand or something associated with them, like the Thing of the Fantastic Four and the Sandman villain from Spider-Man and stuff. And they put them all around the sign of the shop. And they're like, Rocky Road, ice cream that's superheroic.
Yeah, I'd like a frap.
So you get into, and you see there's a pimply teenager. It's summer, so the teenager doing summer jobs is there, and he's like, "Oh, Mrs. McIntyre, do you want our special? Our special today is Green Lantern, makes you green with envy for this flavor."
Now I want a vanilla frap, and it's Ruthie. Just call me Ruthie.
Oh yeah, yes, Mrs. Ruthie McIntyre. We have Venom Vanilla.
I just said vanilla. I just want vanilla.
We only have Venom.
Oh my
Vanilla.
God. And I want 3 of them.
Okay. So he goes, and the Venom Vanilla flavor says, will symbiotically attack your taste buds, and starts making milkshake with that. So Maggie, you notice, of course, that because he's making this milkshake, he's a little bit distracted.
Yeah, I'm going to take the opening, and I want to try and get into the back.
Okay, so
am I rolling something to do that?
Yes. So because this is a move that is that could be risky, and that interesting things might happen if you fail, you are making the day move. It is daytime.
Okay.
To get into the back. But his daytime is not that risky. However, because Ruthie distracted the pimply kid, you will get advantage on this roll, which means you will roll 3d6 and pick the highest 2 and add them together.
Okay. And then, sorry.
Go on.
I was gonna say, do I need
to say? I'm like, you're making it wrong, and I'm showing him how to make the fraps.
And he's like, but Venom Vanilla, and you're like.
I was going to ask about the roll with an appropriate ability. What does that like?
Yes. So you are sneaking. I think because Ruthie is doing distraction, you are doing a very physical ability. So I would say roll with vitality.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I don't have anything in that, but that's fine.
That's cool. And you have advantage. So.
Okay, my highest 2, 6 and a 3, so that's a 9.
9. On a 7 to 9, the keeper will tell you how your action would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. If you go through with it, the keeper describe what it looks like. Okay, so first off, I forgot this bit because it's slightly different. When you do something risky or face something you fear, name what you're afraid will happen. So what are you afraid will happen if you fail at this?
Mostly that the Maggie already has a little bit of a bad reputation with the local police.
Yeah.
And there's things happening with the husband. She's still in the bad books from some evidence from back then.
Yeah.
So she's worried that this kid will call the cops and that that will further get in the way of the investigation.
Yeah. But what's worse is that you know that this freezer sometimes gets stuck shut.
Oh.
Oh no.
You've heard of that happening before. So that's how it will leave you vulnerable. Like if you do badly inside, the freezer just gets stuck shut sometimes.
Okay, and so that will that happen regardless of
No, that may happen. That is
Okay.
a danger that could happen.
Okay, well I'm still gonna try and get it.
And that is the result of your 79. So 79 is a middle success.
Yes.
So that is what prompts that. So in this is a game that's Descent from Powered by the Apocalypse. Your dice rolls literally add complications to the fiction. I'm saying this for the benefit of the viewers. I'm not assuming anything about the game knowledge about our players. I always just assume no one knows anything, right? Okay, so do you want to go through with this?
Yeah, yes, I'm still gonna try and get into the freezer.
Okay, so you go in. Ruthie, you're busy being like, no, ice cream this way, and he's trying to put like salt in there. Do you like salt in your vanilla milkshakes?
No.
And he's like,
Just
but venom vanilla. And then
Oh
he
my
looks at
God.
your face,
I'm like slapping his hand away from it. I'm like, "Let me go."
and you're busy doing that. Sauvignon, as you're like there in the ice cream shop, looking at the Green Lantern knows you're jealous of this flavor, which seems to be made of flavor, as far as you can tell. You're like, what flavor is it? I don't know. It's a flavor.
No, it's a green flavor.
It's a green flavor. The door opens and there's a tinkle, 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 and a very handsome man in his, like, a little bit younger than you, like in his 50s, walks in. He has a full head of hair. He's wearing he's wearing a full, very well tailored suit. His tie has a pattern of quills on it. And he has a fabulously mocha ice cream colored complexion like me. And this can only be Dr. Manmohan Subramaniam, visiting scholar of history and our second suspect.
Well, I think I have to cautiously approach Dr. Subramaniam and ask him how he is doing and has he heard the terrible news about Professor James Edwards.
Okay, so Dr. Subramaniam comes up and he smiles at you and you start talking to him. So are you trying to get information from him, or are you just like making pleasant talk?
Yes, I think I'm going to try to get at least a little bit of revealing information from him. And if that requires a dice roll, then so be it.
So you are making the meddling move. The meddling move, I love this about this game, is anytime you're searching for clues or information, regardless of the method, you are making the meddling move. You are meddling.
Yes.
Now, remember, any die roll you have, you can expend a cozy item to get advantage on it. Okay?
Okay.
Remember, the miss of a meddling move is the meddling move is not very deadly, right? On a miss, not a lot of bad things can happen. However, you just don't get your clues.
Right.
The day and the night move are where more bad things can happen. The night move, especially when it's nighttime, bad things can happen. Okay? So it seems like you're using your charm and personality and things like that. So it's really using presence.
Yes, and I have a +1 in presence because because of my Jonathan Hart Maven move.
Yes,
so
you
I'm
have a
still
touch of glamour. Yeah.
I do indeed, and he's wearing a quill tie, so I feel like there is a way into this. I'm rolling 3 dice, 3d6.
No,
Oh.
you would roll 2 dice and add your bonus.
Oh, okay.
You only
That's
roll
easy.
3 dice when you're rolling with advantage.
Right. All right. Here we go. I have a 6 and a 4. That's a total of 10 plus my 1 equals 11.
Nice. So on a hit, you find the clue. The keeper will tell you what it is.
Right.
I'm explaining this so that our audience can know what we're doing.
Right.
There's a 10 plus, which means a good success. A 12 plus would be a fantastic success, in which case you might see glimpses of the void. Anyway, but no, not yet.
Okay.
So Dr. Manmohan Subramaniam so you're just like, how's it going? What's your opening line in your conversation?
My opening line would be something along the lines of, do I know who he is?
Probably. He's been in town
Yes.
a few weeks. Yeah.
So I would probably go, Doctor, it's so lovely and unexpected to see you here. You're looking so dashing today. I don't know if you've heard, but a most upsetting thing has happened over at the bed and breakfast.
Pause. As you're about to say most of the thing happened, he looks at you and smiles and reaches to take out a signed copy of a book to hand you because he assumes that that's what you're there for.
Yes.
And then when you start saying something, he's like, "Oh," and then he like slowly puts it back into his jacket.
I know what that's like.
So he says, he looks affronted, but he's like, "This is the 3rd time that someone has come up to me with an accusation about killing Dr. Edwards. I am a man of reason and learning. I deal with dead bodies and mysteries in a purely theoretical sense. I assure you, all this nonsense has nothing to do with me, nothing at all. If you'll excuse me, how do you, because you succeeded, right? How do you manage to keep his attention?"
I wasn't accusing you of anything. I just wanted to know if you had heard and if you knew anything about what had happened. I know that it is the talk of the town, but we don't really seem to have any details.
And he says, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I apologize that Detective Porterhouse, so rude. I am a scholar. I have 3 books. I have a named fellowship name. I have a named chair. I am an important scholar. He accused me of murder. I don't know some of these things. I mean, I don't really know what's going on. And those students, who knows about those students, especially after that YouTube video came out. My goodness, I would not let my students do any of this. Ruthie, you finally have your milkshake made not at all according to the recipe the shop uses, but to your own recipe. But you can hear him talk about this. You also, probably, Ruthie, you might know what YouTube is a bit more than some of the others.
Well, I had a channel for a little while.
A painting channel, yeah.
Yes, very good.
Just
well,
for a
I
little
painted
while?
some music and I explained different musical trends to my nibbling Jimmy.
Oh. So you can hear all this. And so he's like, after that
YouTube
video,
what's on YouTube? Have you seen
And
my
he
channel? Have you clicked and subscribed?
and he looks at you and he's like, charmed. And he's like, yes, I my students, I keep them under control. Well, that David fellow, that student, well, there's a racy video of him wearing no clothing, running around in this town. How scandalous is that? So scandalous. That is your first clue. A racy video of one of the students.
Well, show me on your phone. I want to see it.
And he's like, phone? Oh, right. I can pull up YouTube on my phone. If you can show me how. And he pulls out his phone, and as you three start meddling, trying to find the YouTube video of this guy bare ass naked running through the streets of Brindlewood at night, Maggie, you are in the freezer. Most of the walls are covered with various superhero themed ice cream, like tubs of ice cream. You see there's Scarlet Witch Sultana. You see there's I don't know, the incredible bulk, which is ice cream they have that's supposed to be super rich and super amazing. But shoved into one side is this like glass freezer with the corpse of a professor in it.
Oh God.
Is it? This doesn't sound very sanitary at all. But
no, we're eating ice cream from this freezer.
It's in another corner of the freezer, though.
I don't think that's how that works. But anyway,
well, tell Porterhouse that.
I will. And, I would like to examine the body. Do I have to do anything to get into it, or can I just?
No, so you are going up to the body, and you're making me a meddling move.
Okay.
It looks like you're using reason because you're like using your faculties to study the body using your medical bag, right?
Yes.
And remember, your medical bag will give you advantage, and you don't have to tick it, so you can use it.
Yes, that was going to be my question. Was can I use the medical bag?
Yes, love that.
So I roll 3 dice.
So because you have advantage, you'd roll 3 dice and take the highest 2.
Okay. That's 2 6s.
Oh,
very nice.
So you got a 12 plus, which means not only will you find a clue, you will find a void clue.
No.
Okay, so so remember, for our listeners, I literally have an unordered list of 20-something clues, and I randomly pick one that fits the situation to give to the players whenever they succeed, right? So the last one, I gave them this racy video. Okay, so you're looking at the body and you're meddling. You're literally meddling. So you open the fridge and look through the body. You have your gloves, because you have the medical bag. So that's why maybe you don't feel uncomfortable touching it because you have your, disposable gloves and stuff.
Yep.
And let's see what you find on the body. Okay. The body hasn't been disturbed very much, and you see he's wearing a suit, not as lovely a suit, or you don't even know what Dr. Subramaniam's suit is, but the viewers of this TV show, it's not as lovely a suit as Dr. Subramaniam's suit, but it's a professor's suit. And in the jacket pocket, you find which of these two was nicer? You find an opinion piece from the local newspaper. So it's been torn out of the newspaper, so you don't know who it's by, but it's decrying the modernization of the Museum of Brindle Dolls.
Oh.
Okay, so it's saying like this museum is a symbol of our history and connection to Brindlewood Bay, and it pointedly does not mention Dr. Chanel Brown, the curator's name.
Okay.
But it says the new management wants to do blah blah blah, and bringing all these scholars to add a quote reinterpretation end quote of our cherished history is scandal, and like it goes on and on about that. Okay. However, you also find a void clue. As the door behind you to the freezer closes, the creak of the door sounds like music, but it sounds like music you're sure you've never heard in real life, only in a dream.
Okay.
So that is a void clue you have,
Okay.
which would be relevant in a campaign setting, but
Void
it
clue.
adds to the tone. Every time you have a void clue, Dave, you will be charged with making that sound effect.
Void clue.
Okay. So that is happening. Outside, what are the two of you, Sauvignon and Ruthie, doing?
So I've given all of the fraps to Dr. S to hold while I am looking. And before I look up the video of the thing and show it to everyone, I also like and subscribe my channel on his phone. And then
And now you have 4 subscribers.
Shut up. It's true. And like I play the video for everybody and we like watch.
Yeah,
it.
it's just dark, shadowy video. It's not very clear. It's at night, clearly. And you see basically a naked college kid, like college student, like running outside. And then people are yelling like, woo, ah, ah, you know. It's not very clear. They're yelling, and they're yelling, go David, go David. And Dr. Subramanian is like, I would not do that with my students. Anyway, if I will be taking my leave, and he takes the phone. Like, I would like to order some of that, I don't know, Black Panther licorice flavor. It's apparently tastes like Panther. And the as the pimply kid is making the ice cream, you see he keeps glancing at you, Ruthie, to make sure you don't stop him from making this ice cream the way he's supposed to. So
Probably tastes like cat piss.
it tastes like Panther. There you go. Okay, what do you guys want to do?
Well, can I get out of the freezer?
Let's see. You succeed really well on that thing. You know what? Let's spice this up. I'm gonna make a hard move. No.
No.
The freezer, especially because you heard that weird, unsettling music. The freezer has locked itself. The other two might not know this.
Maggie's been in the bathroom a long time.
Yeah, the pimply kid luckily is too busy trying to keep an eye on Ruthie for more scoldings and trying to make this milkshake, this Black Panther licorice flavor, to have noticed that Maggie has gone to the bathroom. Has gone into the freezer.
Does Maggie have her phone?
I mean, that's a great question. I think the better question is, does Maggie own a phone? The answer, which might be no. I.e. a cell phone, at least.
Yes.
Yeah, you have your
my
landline.
curiosity.
Why would you need anything else? It's also a small town. They could just knock on your door, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who needs all those newfangled contraptions?
Well, you
Love
need
that,
one
love
now, Maggie.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Maggie, you realize the door is locked.
Mhm.
And you're in the freezer with a corpse and lots of bad ice cream flavors.
I mean, the bad ice cream is more disturbing to her than the corpse, but let's see. What can I attempt to pick the lock?
Okay, okay. So, what is something you fear in this moment?
I mean, freezing to death, probably.
Yeah, that's a serious fear. Yeah. Make me the day move to try and get through this lock.
Okay,
freezer.
and what would we? Is this a vitality roll as well?
If you're trying to pick the lock, what do you think? I think it's more a reason roll, right?
Okay, that's good because I have more points in reason. Okay, so that's 2 dice. Okay, that's a 7 plus 1 would be
8.
which doesn't make sense, but
yeah. So remember, you also, if you ever want to upstep your success, you can also put on a crown. Okay. And once per game, you have the Amanda de la Court gold crown mystery move as well, and that's the whole group has at once. Okay, so 7 to 9. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say, if you do this, thing, picking the lock, this will take time, which will mean that your bag of tools for a coroner bag is going to be in a freezer for a long time, which means you will lose the bag of coroner tools as though like the equipment has been cold and you've damaged it for a bit, like the liquids and stuff you have. So for the rest of this, until you somehow replace it, you'll not be able to use that coroner's bag.
Can I choose to put on a crown
instead and get a 10 plus? Yes.
Yes.
So each character sheet has two kinds of crowns: Crown of the Void and Crown of the Queen. If you choose Void, you have to pick the top one. If you pick Queen, you can pick any of them.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, I'm going to pick the Crown of the Queen. And I'm going to just choose the first one because that sparked something for me. And it's that in this freezer, looking at this corpse of the professor, it reminds Maggie of her dear departed husband. And her fondest memory of him is of looking at him after his body was found and she had to identify him and realizing that she no longer had to put up with him. And so she flashes back to that moment, and that is her realization.
Love that. And so you get a 10 plus, and you do it without a hitch. So mark that crown. You cannot use that again ever. You do what you intended and hold steady. Describe what it looks like.
So she somehow manages to
hairpins.
Yeah, hairpins. Using a hairpin, gets the lock open of the freezer, and then slips it open and outwards, noticing as she does so that the worker is still,
struggling.
Making milkshake. Now, as you're slipping out, Sauvignon and Ruthie, you notice clearly that Maggie, as slipping out, did something with the lock because she's putting her hairpins back, and Maggie always fiddles with locks, right? But as you're looking, you notice through the window of the ice cream store, the windows are frosted, right? Because it's an ice cream store. You see a silhouette of a mysterious figure looking in right at the freezer door, almost as if they had expected it to lock shut. As though they may have even caused it to lock shut somehow. And you see that mysterious silhouette vanishes from the window.
Spooky.
Was it David? Was he naked?
You didn't
naked
see his
David.
butt. All you know is what David's butt looks like. It is a very what's Calpigenian butt.
Yes.
But yeah,
it's unlikely that David pressed his butt up against the window to identify himself to us.
There was the dark of a head. So yeah, what are you guys doing? You have 2 clues, but you have a lot of investigation you can still do.
Well, first, I'm concerned about Maggie being so cold coming out of that freezer, and I'm delighted that we do not have any of Lillian's hideous floral shawls to warm her with. But we really should get her out of there and into the street in order to to warm herself up.
Yeah, it's a summer day, right?
Together.
Yes.
Love that. So you quickly head out of the ice cream store, and it is a warm summer day, and people. So outside, it's funny, right? Because this murder happened, but the town right now in this area seems really cozy and lovely, right? There's a father and son walking in. The son is like, "Daddy, Daddy, I want the oh God, the dashing daredevil chocolate that is so strong it makes you go blind flavor."
I don't know how this ice cream store is surviving.
Tourist dollars.
Tourist dollars. Speaking of tourist dollars, how far away is the museum?
You can probably, if you walk, you'll probably get there by afternoon. It's like late morning now, right? So probably get there by like lunchtime.
Ah, well, that's one option.
We could use a stroll, and Maggie could use her fingers warmer.
Yeah, it would probably the walk would probably do quite a bit to warm me up, get these old bones moving again.
Put some color in your cheeks.
Okay. So is that what you're doing? Head to the museum?
Sure. Let's head to the museum.
Okay. So as you're walking to the museum, each of you you're all talking about the museum, and each of you is reminiscing about your one memorable doll. So creepy is an understatement for the lone gallery of this out-of-the-way museum. You remember the walls are lined with dolls of all shapes, sizes, and materials, and their blank stares tend to judge you silently. But you each remember one doll from your childhood in this museum, and you're talking about that as you get into this museum. What's the doll that you each remember? Starting with Maggie.
So I remember a little boy doll, similar to sort of a Raggedy Andy kind of situation. But yeah, the limbs are just like a little bit too long. Which is not super surprising on, dolls. The proportions are not always completely accurate to human proportions, but it's just enough to be like mildly unsettling.
Okay, like it's a little bit creepypasta kind of.
Just a little bit Slenderman.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so Vignon.
I remember, and I'm basing this on something real, I remember a ventriloquist doll that was mass marketed in the 1930s that was actually made in this town, in a factory in this town. They have one example available. It had as its jaw mechanism a rubber band. Of course, many years have passed, the rubber band is decayed, and so the jaw is always hanging open on this doll. Exactly. Very unpleasant. Very
Love that.
unpleasant.
Love that. And Ruthie.
Little Miss Nancy is the name of all of my dolls. When I was a kid, just anytime one would get too destroyed beyond recognition, the next one would be called Little Miss Nancy. And my parents would have a jingle, and they would just take the My Buddies song and replace it with Little Miss Nancy. It didn't quite fit the rhythm, and it was pretty awkward, but yeah.
Love that. So you're all
Little Miss
sharing
Nancy.
your like
Little Miss Nancy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you're all sharing your like doll stories when you get up to the museum. The museum is very small. It's like one big gallery, and an attached gift store. In front of the gallery, you see Bill Fimbley, the gruff security guard, our next suspect. You also know that the gift shop doubles as the curator's office. There's not a lot of space.
No.
It's not a very well-funded museum, right? So there are these two. There's both the museum gallery itself, and there's the gift shop. Where would you like to go? And you can split up if you need to, yeah?
I think I would like to see if Chanel Brown,
yeah.
if Chanel Brown is in her office and available.
Right. So you want to go to the gift store? Anyone else want to go to the gift store?
I want to look at the dolls.
Okay, so Maggie will look at the dolls, and Ruthie?
Oh, I let them go ahead, and I'm asking Bill Findley if he has a cigarette.
Okay, so Maggie and Ruthie go up. It's very cheap. It's like locally funded, right? So it's like a couple of dollars, like $3-4 for a ticket. So Maggie goes inside. Ruthie starts chatting with Bill, while Sauvignon goes to the gift store. So let's pull up Bill. So Bill is wearing a flannel shirt and worn pants. He has a brass museum bag, and he's like squinting and like.
Great.
Billy, do you have a ciggy?
And he's like, yeah. And he like fishes in his pocket, pulls out like a dead spider, pulls out a snotty hanky, and then pulls out this like twisty, wrinkly sort of cigarette. He's like, yeah.
Come outside and smoke it with me, will you?
And he looks around and he's like,
It's just me and Maggie.
and he's like, true, but I got a job to do. This isn't just a museum, no siree. It's a living thing with blood made of old memories and flesh made of dolls.
Billy,
and
what do
its
you?
bones are my bones, and I take care of my bones.
Billy, what are you talking about?
Oh, Billy.
Note, in the Brindlewood Bay mystery format, every suspect has a quote attached to it. So just a finish for you. So yeah. Okay, so he's like, that will be dereliction of duty. I'm not gonna let this place go to seed like, and he gives an evil like look to the gift shop, like Dr. Brown and her modernism. She ain't grown up with these dolls. She don't care about these dolls. All she care about is fancy papers and writing and research.
Okay, Billy. Okay, but like I'm the customer and you should keep an eye on me outside, and I don't like to smoke alone. Come outside.
And he's like, okay, if I can stand in the doorway.
Yeah, it's fine. Just come out. Just come smoke with me.
And he throws Maggie a dirty look from the doorway, like,
it's just Maggie. She's just being a weirdo. It's fine. She just wants to look at the dolls. She wants to look at the dolls. It's fine.
And he does this to Maggie and stands in the doorway.
Yeah.
He doesn't smoke. He's like, no drugs on duty.
Okay. How's your nephew? Is he good? Is he still fishing?
And he's like, he fell into the sea and broke his arm.
Okay, but is he still fishing? Did he
Not
catch
at
anything?
the moment.
What?
He broke his arm.
Okay, but did he catch anything?
No, apart from a case of broken arm.
Billy, you seem like you're having a hard time.
And
Are you okay,
like,
Billy?
I don't like it when all these kids come to this and ruin the atmosphere. The dolls like peace and quiet, not
Billy.
people coming in to look at them.
Oh, Billy, you're a good man, Billy. Just don't listen to those kids. It's just they don't know what it's like.
Hard not to. They're so loud and opinionated and smelly.
I hate those smelly kids. And so I start like adjusting his tie and like fixing his shirt, and I'm just like, Billy, you just need someone to look after you. You know, like you're a good man. Like they don't know what they're missing, and just like and I'm like, but I'm also just like picking his pocket at the same time.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you're doing the meddling move, but you are using, I would say, vitality.
Great, I have a 0. I got a 5.
Oh no.
5. Okay. So that would be a fail. I would make a hard move unless you would like to use one of your special things.
No, make a hard move.
Okay. So we're gonna cut. So as Ruthie starts picking pockets and things, we're gonna cut away before the hard move to Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon, you enter the museum gift shop, which in contrast to the creepy museum gallery itself, is warm and cozy, filled with all sorts of tchotchkes, and it smells of vanilla, not venom vanilla, real vanilla. It's a separate building from the main gallery, and what My tiny clues in here show you that Dr. Brown spends a lot of time in here.
Yes. Is she in there right now?
You can hear bustling in the back.
Oh. So I think that Sauvignon is going to wander over towards her desk and peer at what is on the surface of it.
Yeah, so you first tell me, what small clue do you see that Dr. Brown spends a lot of time here?
I see that she has piles and piles of personal papers mixed in amongst the professional papers. It's almost as if she's living here. She has just, her phone is there, her purse is there. There's empty cups of, like containers of coffee
Yeah, the little
overflowing.
container which has a croissant in the shape of a shrimp on it.
Yes, well, of course, those are very popular. And and like her trash can is sort of overflowing a little. She is not she's These are not healthy signs. This is not good work-life balance.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are, while she's not looking, you are trying to
I'm trying to sort of peer over the desk and see what exactly she has sort of uppermost. Yes.
Yeah, make me the meddling move, and it
Yes.
looks like you're just calmly peering. It looks like you're using reason, right?
I
You're
think
like
it's
using your
reason.
faculties. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And for this, I will need to roll how many dice?
So unless you're using something that gives you advantage, which could be
No.
your cozy items. And remember, you don't have to have the cozy item on you. You can be
Right.
like, oh, this teaches me this, right? You know, I'll be like,
Yes.
I take out my giant yarn bowl, right? Exactly.
No, I'll be fine. I'll just do a dice
Yep.
roll. So it's 3 dice.
2 dice and add your
dice.
reason.
All right. My reason is 0, so it's just the 2 dice. A 6 and a 5.
6. Oh wow.
Yes.
That's an 11. Okay,
I
not
am
a 12,
very
but an
happy.
11. Great. You
Yep.
find a clue. So this is your third clue. So you are looking through the table or quickly across the table, and let's see. Okay, you see a book, and it says on the cover a dictionary of classical Sanskrit. Okay, but the book seems a bit weird looking. So you like grab it, just like, what is up with this book? And it turns out the pages aren't real; they're all glued together, and the book falls open, and there's a hollow in the middle. It's a hollowed out book. And inside is a bottle of very strong sleeping pills.
Oh.
And they're very strong because because you know what? You read about sleeping pills in Amanda de la Cour and the mystery of the Sleeping Beauty.
Yes.
Okay. So as you find that, and then Dr. Chanel Brown comes in. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you. Dr. Brown is very striking. She's wearing a navy pantsuit that's very striking. She has a patterned tie. The tie is made to look like a multicolored stained glass window.
Ooh.
She has nails that match the tie. Like each nail is like a multicolored stained glass window, and she has a really large afro. And she's a very striking woman. She walks in and she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you. Welcome to the museum gift shop. She had dark circles under her eyes.
Oh, yes. Well, I, of course, would say, Dr. Brown, it is delightful to see you. And what a wonderful outfit you're wearing. I really must compliment you. As a former editor of a fashion magazine, it is always a treat to see someone who is so beautifully put together.
Oh, and she blushes a bit. And she's like, what magazine? Oh, and she's in her late 30s. Yeah.
Yes.
What magazine did you write for?
Oh, it was.
She said, what publication did you write for?
You probably don't remember it. It was a regional fashion and lifestyle magazine from years ago. It was called Scandal. And of course, it wasn't about scandals, but it was.
I used to, because she studies handicrafts and local culture and history through that, right? So
Yep.
I have read back issues of that magazine. As part of my research, I did a little project on handmade garden gnomes once, and
Yes.
how they symbolize the industrialization of village life in America. And there was a series of articles about garden gnomes.
There were. We were all about cutting edge garden gnomes and how garden gnomes were reflecting what was going on in our culture. I'm so glad you remember those.
And you can tell that she was not unfriendly to you. She's just a bit tired, but you can tell she immediately is very warm to you now. Like,
yes.
She's very interested in chatting with you. And she starts talking with you, and we're going to cut to Maggie, who enters this really creepy thing. And right, the first thing your eyes go to is that doll with the limbs that are a bit too long, made you uncomfortable as a kid. Maybe less uncomfortable for most adults, but because you have the memory of making you uncomfortable as a kid, it makes you uncomfortable as an elderly woman. Yeah, what are you doing? Oh, you know what? Actually, this is going to be the result of the hard move that Ruthie elicited. Okay,
No.
So Maggie, what are you looking at for? Are you looking at the dolls? Are you looking at the postcard rack? Are you looking at the writing on the wall? Or are you looking at the floor? What are you looking at first?
Yeah, I think Maggie is sort of drawn, perhaps slightly against her will, just towards the dolls, sort of in that like horror revulsion, but can't look away way.
Yeah, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, and sort of says to herself about like, okay, buck up, like.
And that's when you hear a grating noise as the extremely heavy, big, huge metal postcard stand, someone shoves it and it starts falling towards you.
Oh.
And with that cliffhanger, we will take our break.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
There we go. Transitioning to break. There we go. That should have worked. Yeah, we should be good. So, just saying to everybody out there in the Twitch land that a break for the stream, just a reminder, is a break for you folks as well. So go stretch, get whatever you need and so forth, and we will come back in probably like 5 minutes. All right, lovely folks out there in the internet. We're going to get rolling again. Before we do that, just wanted to remind everybody that we here at Bag of Giving are doing this for fun, for horror, but also to support good causes and hopefully put some good out into the world. So again, just a reminder that our Spotlight charity this month is the Abortion Funds, huge kind of conglomerate NGO that is in the States. What they do is they raise money for specific state-by-state access to abortion access and kind of related healthcare costs and travel costs and so on, which is obviously a much more serious and more complicated situation in the States than it was just a few weeks ago. So there's more information about them on our website. We would really, really appreciate it if you can go and check that out, or any of our other Spotlight charities that are there. A little donation their way. If you send that proof of donation to us, you will get entered into our giveaways. And for those of you that are watching this later on some sort of YouTube or whatever, I'm speaking into the future here. The way our prize wall works is we're going to do a draw every month. You get to pick something off of our prize wall. There are books and games and cool swag and story critiques and all sorts of stuff on there. So in the past, what we did was we had like a specific thing or specific bundle that we were giving away each month. No longer. Now, whenever you win, you get to pick something off of the wall. So if you're coming to this, weeks from now or even months from now, we're still doing giveaways. So don't feel like you've missed out on an opportunity to enter. Just go to our website, check out the details, and you might win something. And in addition to that, do some good. But yeah, for the remainder of tonight, the good that we're doing in game is solving mysteries and not dying in freezers or getting crushed by things. So I'm going to turn it back over to our plucky mystery solvers, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our game.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna continue exactly where we left off, where Maggie turned around as an enormous, ancient, heavy iron rack holding doll postcards. Each of them is as creepy as the dolls themselves.
Great.
It's also really dusty, is teetering and tottering and about to fall on you. What are you doing?
Well, I would like to try and get out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, I assume is that a day move?
You are facing something you fear. What are you afraid of will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
I mean, I'm afraid that I'm gonna get crushed by this thing. Is that a little bit too? I don't know how you're gonna escalate that. If
we'll figure things out. So okay, I have two options for you. Either you're trying to use your elderly reflexes to get out of the way, or you're trying to keep calm in this dangerous situation and be calm and get out of the way using composure.
I think I'm going to try to use composure because I have a +2 in that. So I'm
absolutely.
I'm going to try and lean into the recesses of my.
And remember, if you have pause, remember, if you want advantage, you can use one of your cozy objects if you can explain how.
Can I make use of the knitted lavender shawl that Ruthie made for me?
Yeah, how are you using that?
Its presence gives me comfort. It aids in my calm mind.
Yeah, you know that your friend made this for you. Yeah. They've got your back,
Yeah. So
love that. So that you'll tick off. That's the one that you have to tick off and you cannot use again. Yeah, because your bag is your special Maven move that you can use often.
Okay.
So 3 dice.
Okay. Oh God. So that's 2 6s again.
Wait, 3 6s?
Two 6s.
Okay,
nice. Top 2, right? So, okay. I was like, oh God, does that mean there's a void thing that happens? But I don't think so on the day move.
No, that's the meddling move. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, describe.
So channeling her calm composure using the comfort of knowing that her friends are nearby. Maggie is able to keep her cool and reach up and grasp the the postcards, and the postcards kind of fall around in some dust, but she does not get hit by the metal
Yeah.
strip.
So it is very heavy. So you're struggling a bit. You're like, oh my God. And then you hear a voice from the recesses of the gallery, like, oh my God. Oh, actually, let me decide who it is, and I can do an accent for them. Let's see.
We love accents.
Oh my God, are you okay? And a figure comes running towards you. Ruthie, you hear not a lot of noise because the thing didn't hit anything, but you do hear some commotion from inside. Bill, who is looking away, seems to have not noticed any of this commotion. But you see some like flurry of movement and some like noise from the inside. Do you want to react anyway, or?
Billy, thanks for the smoke. I'm gonna go check out the dollies, okay?
And he's like, he's like, they're more than just dolls.
Okay,
There's
okay,
a
Billy.
blood in a museum.
Oh, okay, Billy. I'm gonna go check out the dollies. I'll talk to you later.
And he nods at you, like, as you.
I'll see you in there later. Okay.
And you enter, and you see Maggie holding up this enormous metal like case of no, we're not holding any longer all these postcards will fall up, and you see running up to her is a young woman, like very like 19-20-year-old woman. She is dressed all in black. She's wearing a like lacy skirt and long black stockings, and her like t-shirt has a white spray painted skull on it. She has black nail polish, dark eyeliner, and deep purple lipstick.
Do you like the Smiths?
And she doesn't hear you because she runs up, and I say that I don't know what that means, and is
Do you like
trying
Dead Can
to help.
Dance?
She's like,
Do you like what are the kids like now? Do you like Evanescence?
she's like, stop talking and help me. And
Maggie, are you dancing with the card catalog?
yeah, so Ruthie's like asking you about random musicians while this iron thing is flying, and then this young girl is trying to help you push it back.
Maggie, what are you doing? What are you like?
Oh, so I turn to the young woman and say, "Oh, I assume we've gotten it up." Like,
no,
oh,
you both are trying to push and race it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I go over and I help, but I'm just like, are you dancing with this? What's going on?
where it all just happened so suddenly. I was
Maggie, you gotta pay attention.
the dolls were just drawing
The dolls were doing nothing. What were you doing dancing with this thing?
and she turns to the young woman and says, "Oh, thank you, dearie. What is your name? Who are
She's
you?"
like, I'm Kim, Angela Kim, soon to be valedictorian. It's a small college in Boston. You might not know it. And she looks at you as though like you absolutely should know the small college in Boston that she goes to.
Oh, that's lovely, dear. That's lovely. What are you doing?
Do you go to Emerson?
And she looks at you and she says, no.
Do you go to Wheelock? It's in the fence.
And she looks at you and she says, I don't have time for this. I need to go and prep for my case interviews. So are you okay, ma'am?
I'm just fine, dear. Why don't I guess there probably isn't a cafe as part of this museum.
In the gift shop.
What how about I buy you a coffee to thank you for helping me out?
And she looks around and she's like, I suppose, but let's have a quick coffee.
Maggie, she doesn't drink coffee. She drinks chai tea lattes or whatever the kids are drinking.
And
these
she turns to you and
days.
she says, wait, how did you know that? And she gives you a
Because
suspicious
the extra foam or whatever. Like I know.
Okay, Sauvignon. So you're chatting. Angela's like actually excitedly talking to you about garden gnomes.
Oh, well, that's
Right?
lovely.
And she's like, no, it's actually true, right? The mass export of these cheap, quick-made garden gnomes from other countries was a sign of the growing urbanization and industrialization, not to mention globalization facing the American village life. Now, of course, I'm not putting a value judgment on this, but and she's going on. She's very she's an anthropologist, sociologist, cultural studies person. So
Yeah.
she's talking very deeply about like garden gnomes with you.
I'm excited to hear about the garden gnomes, mostly because, of course, it seems like the series that we ran in our magazine many years ago has inspired a lot of thought along this line.
Yeah, and she was particularly because you interviewed a lot of people about their garden gnomes.
Yes.
So that was a rich data set. She contacted those people and talked to them about it. So your magazine was like, because of the articles, she contacted all people and got primary data from them.
Yes, which is extraordinary. And of course, has gotten a rich sampling of the variety of garden gnomes that were available in that region at the time. I don't think Sauvignon hears about her work in the past very often now because times have changed, magazines have changed, things have moved online. She feels like time has passed her by a bit. So it's unusual for her to see a young person, particularly someone who she recognizes being almost a Billie Eilish impersonator, who actually is interested in her and is actually interested in work that she has done in the past. So, I think she's very moved by this.
Yeah. And she says, I'm really interested in folk art. Like, for example, the artistic value of our collection here in this museum is priceless. Woven into these dolls are 1,000 stories, a rich tapestry of joy and tragedy, of industry, of inventiveness. I just wish more folks would listen, would come. I'm trying to initiate a number of outreach and education programs to involve the community more. I'm very happy that someone of Dr. Subramaniam standing, actually she says Dr. Subramaniam standing, would be here to write. Like, his work he is a rock star academic, and his work is famous. If he writes something about our little museum here, well, I am very invested in this museum.
Well, that's lovely to hear. I saw the doctor earlier today, actually, and he was looking stunningly dressed, if I must say so myself.
And oh yes, Dr. Subramaniam is as swankily dressed as he is polished in his prose.
Yes, that's delightful to hear. I am a bit curious about his students. And are you finding that other students share your interests the way that you have?
A meddling move as you're pumping her for
there's
information.
a meddling move. I am absolutely going to try to get information about David.
And you are absolutely using presents, right?
Yes, I absolutely.
Because you're like charming her, and
yes.
you're genuinely interested in her. So.
Yes, I'm genuinely interested in her, and the fact that she's at all interested in any work that I've ever done is amazing. But yes,
and she is a suspect. So
yeah, and yes, and I'm totally using a meddling move.
Okay, so roll 2 dice. If you want to roll a third, you have to use a cozy object.
No, but that's fine. I'm rolling the 2, and then I'll be adding my presents. And I get a 6 and a 5 plus 1. It is 12.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay. So first, let's do the regular clue. Then we'll do the void. So the interesting thing is, as you unlock more and more void clues, the GM is allowed to release more information. So you need to have unlocked a certain number of void clues before supernatural servitors start to chase after you and hexes start to be cast against you and things like that. So
Delightful.
yeah, it's really interesting. So like by the third or fourth session, you're like, oh yeah, it's a regular mystery game, and then you're like, what is happening? Okay, so she's talking about the students. Okay, no, let's not do that. Oh yeah, this one. She says, "Oh, I don't really know much about them. There's the valedictorian Angela. There's the very wealthy child David, and then there's Mary, the international student. She seems rather charming. Actually, one of them I actually wanted to go up to the bed and breakfast and talk to poor Professor Edwards, but of course that went quite out of my mind with all the news, the shocking news this morning." She pulls out a little manila folder, and it has a stamp, the university's logo on it, and the Latin underneath for truth.
Right. What?
She says, sorry. She says, if you're heading that way, would you mind passing this to the students there?
Oh, it would be my pleasure.
Thank you. And that's the moment when the door opens and Maggie walks in with Angela. And so Dr. Brown gets distracted, like, oh, we're having so many visitors today. And she goes up to talk to Maggie and Angela. So Vigneault, do you want to take a look at what's in the folder?
Of course I want to take a look
Medal. Yeah, you find a clue. You see an essay about folk crafts, but it's hand marked with lots of red, and there is an F very prominently on it.
No.
So a failing grade, an essay covered in red marks, and a failing grade is your newest clue. I hope someone's keeping track of the clues, right?
Yes.
Right, 'cause I'm not. Great. How many clues do you have? 4. Okay. Remember, the more clues you have, the better your roll will be. And also, you have not yet met all the suspects, because she mentioned, to Sauvignon, she mentioned David, who you saw his butt earlier, and Mary, who was the international student. And remember, the last clue is an essay covered in red marks and a failing grade.
Yep.
Actually, Erin, can you repeat for us what clues we have so far?
Yes. We've got the most important clue, which is the video of David running naked in the street.
Certainly important to me.
Probably going to be the key. And then we have the opinion piece that Professor Edwards had on him, the book that Chanel has, or was on Chanel's desk. I guess it doesn't necessarily belong to her, that was hollowed out with sleeping pills inside, and then
very strong sleeping pills.
Yes, very strong sleeping pills. And then the essay with the failing grade.
Right.
Okay, so Maggie, you walk in.
Sorry. Before we keep going, did we get the new void clue?
Oh, we didn't do the void clue. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Sauvignon, as Dr. Brown moves aside, walks the front of the gift store to talk to Maggie and this goth girl, you see on the window, it's a clear window, and there's a nice pot of flowers by the window. You see a army of ants crawling vertically up the window, but in a really strange, specific pattern that makes you think of writing, but it's no writing you've ever seen. It almost seems like a writing you might have dreamt about.
Okay.
And the ants are repeatedly walking in this very strange pattern on the glass of the window.
Spooky. Suitably spooky.
Nice. Dave, can you do that again?
Void clue.
Great. Okay. Maggie, you walk in with Angela Kim, and what do you do?
So yeah, I'm just going. I probably see that Sauvignon is like looking for something, like looking for a clue, and so I'm going to sort of try to distract Chanel. And like, oh well, I must buy this young woman a coffee. She saved my life earlier, and you should really be more careful about the postcard rack. It nearly killed me. Must have a look at that. Must do something about that.
Yeah.
I may launch a complaint, and that would not do well for you, I think.
Oh, and so she starts apologizing, and how could that be? And we don't have coffee, but we have coffee flavored throat lozenges. So she can serve that, and you can buy the coffee flavored throat lozenges. And the other thing, Ruthie, what are you doing at this point?
Thinking of more goth bands to recommend to this hoity-toity girl, and I'm like, maybe she'd like Fields of the Nephilim, maybe she'd like Joy Division, maybe she'd like the Bauhaus. But then I don't know. I think the dolls and my buddy like Billy's not here, so I'm just like, I don't know, like maybe I just like spin a bunch of the dolls around and look at them and see if they have like any names written on them. If like, I also still think that they're maybe just people shrunk down on miniatures, so I'm just looking to see if I can see that about them.
Okay, are you looking for clues or you're just hanging out?
I'm looking for clues.
Okay, so you're hanging out, you're looking at the clock, you're like, well, maybe someone shrunk up here. I don't know. Okay, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna pull a special thing. Because of your superstition about these dolls, you're gonna roll with sensitivity.
Oh, great! That's the one. That's the set I have a negative in, right?
Everyone has a negative sensitivity.
Great.
Yeah. It's because you're superstitious. You're like, what is up with these dolls? You're trying to sense an aura from them.
Great. My stat's -2. Let's do this. A 4 minus a 2.
Oh dear.
Okay, love that. So remember, you can use a crown, or you can use the Amanda Delacour Gold Crown Mystery move.
So okay, this might be a good one for a gold crown one, but hold on. Can you tell me a little bit more about what happens before I decide it's just like
this is a meddling move, right? So it isn't actually very dangerous. No, actually, I can make. Since you fail, I can make a hard move. Actually, yeah, I can make a hard move. So I'll describe, and then you can decide. That is actually in the rules. You should show a gruesome scene, and then you can change it, right? Perfect. Because Jason writes that showing these dangerous scenes is fun, right? So let's look at my thing. Okay. Okay, let's do this. You're looking, and then you see out of the corner of your eye from one end of the gallery where there's like a little door that's usually closed, but it's not. It's open. That's weird. You see like a shadow move, and then you hear a voice. You hear Bill from like, "Hey, who is there? What are you trying to do?" And he pulls out from his pocket an ancient-looking pistol or revolver, right? Ancient revolver. And he's like, "Don't steal the dolls or I'll shoot." And you see he's trying to shoot at this strange figure, but he is pointing. You're in the way, Ruthie, and he seems to not have noticed. Does he have bad eyesight? You don't know. He was squinting at you a lot, you remember. It is dark inside. And he's pointing the revolver at you-ish, and the bullet could hit you.
Yeah, this reminds me of Amanda Della Corte and the Mystery of the Mysterious String, which because
Ooh.
the string, like, it was
Wait,
connected.
pause. Ruthie, pause. I want before you do the thing that actually helps you, I want Maggie and Sauvignon to say their favorite part from the Mystery of the Mysterious
Oh yeah, I
String.
love it's one of my favorite books. What was your favorite part?
Yeah, because you decided on that one for the book club. You're like, I picked the mysterious string. So what were your favorite parts, Maggie and Sauvignon?
My favorite part is the somewhat weird bit in the middle where she just decides to do a whole bunch of baking, and she ends up figuring out all of these newfangled recipes, and the book just takes this very strange divergence into the world of
somehow she has to go to a baking contest rather than just buying a ticket and entering. She decides, no, I must be a contestant and win. So
Yes.
she tries all these baking recipes. Yeah.
Well, it was for sugar cookies, and like that's important to take
Yes.
to make a good sugar cookie.
Sauvignon, what was your favorite part in Amanda de la Cour and the Mysterious String?
Well, it's funny that Maggie was so fond of that part, because shortly after there is a section that talks a bit about the history of sugar cookie recipes, and it reminded me so much of the recipe, the medieval recipe book that I have in my cozy list.
It's your late chef, your late wife, the chef. We all know.
Yes, absolutely. I talk about her all the time.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, poor Paloma. But yes, I was very fond.
Did you name her after a cocktail? Like, sorry, that's disrespectful. I'm sorry.
She's a Spanish dove. So yes, but yes, I was very fond of that. And when she won the prize for her sugar cookies, it brought a tear to my eye.
Aww. So Ruthie, you like those parts, but the part that really stands out is the one you use right now to get you out of this pickle.
Well, because the string was being drenched in some kind of like a chemical liquid that was making people see things, and I get a glint of that in poor Billy's eye, and I just see it, and I'm like, I just think about the string and like where it went, and I'm seeing math in front of my face, and I just know, and I know he's gonna fire that gun. So I turn my head, and he doesn't hit me.
Yeah, so you turn and he glints off of you.
It's just like in the book.
Yeah, just like in the book, and he's like, "Hey, did you see her? Did you see who that was?"
Billy, there's nobody there.
And he like rushes in, or like he tries to rush in. He like hobbles in. You notice he has a limp. He like hobbles in and tries to get to the back to see what's there. But as he hobbles in, he kicks something on the ground that you didn't notice before. And because you got a 12 when you use the De La Cour mystery, which means void clue.
Void clue.
And
first we get a regular clue, right?
And a regular clue, right? Okay.
Regular clue.
Okay. On the floor, you see let's see, a couple of these are relevant. You see a brass museum badge, but it looks like someone has stepped on it. It's dented and the pin is broken.
Yeah, for what's the name? What's the name of the badge?
Oh no, it's one of those, you know how in the Met they have the badges that just say the name of the museum?
Sorry, I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's
like one of those. Now, Billy is wearing a museum badge like that, just as was Dr. Chanel Brown, right? So you find that, and so the move is I can do a void clue, or I can do information about the void. So
information about the dark conspiracy.
And this is very strange, but as the Billy goes to the door and he looks, he's like, "Whoa, what's in there?" And he shuts the door, and there's a kind of noise as the air escapes as he shuts the door. Simultaneously, Maggie, you're listening to both Dr. Brown and Angela are speaking at the same time, and their voices are garbling together, but strangely you hear ... And Sauvignon, you're looking at these ants, and there's a scratchy noise as they're crawling on this glass, and the garbled voices, the scratchy noise of the ants, the of the door, all three of you simultaneously hear the words, midwives of the fragrant void.
Well then.
Dun dun dun! Okay.
Is it like a new band? Like, do you think that she'd like to hear about that band? Like, should I tell her about it?
Well, you can try.
They sound cool.
Okay, so Maggie, you have managed to supply Angela with coffee flavored throat lozenges. And she's like, okay, if thank you for if I get sick, it's actually really useful because if I need to study, I can just take these and not have to go to the doctor. Totally. But like, I need to head back to the bed and breakfast. That dumb detective said not to stay out too long. I just need to collect some photos for my paper.
Oh, yes, dear. We heard about what happened to your professor. Such terrible thing.
Yeah, it's like really awful. I'm like really worried if my grade will suffer because like I need all A's to be a valedictorian. I can't get a W. Which means incomplete.
Okay. Well, and what's this? Just so horrible, so terrible to have happened.
Yeah, like really bad. Like all of us are gonna have to figure out what our grade is gonna be, like how to deal with this.
Yeah, so unfair to all of you students. I'm sure just going to set your semester back so terribly.
Oh no. And she sometimes says, oh no, this is not good. I can't let Marjorie Green beat me.
Well, and
like Marjorie Green on her stupid humanitarian trip in Kosovo right now, building stupid schools for homeless youth.
I give her a pat on the back and say, "Oh, there, sweetie. Why don't you tell me a bit more about all of this, about everything that's been going on? I'm fishing for information."
Yeah. Can we do that on the way? I don't want that dumb detective to like get annoyed at me. He's like really annoying and smells of sherry.
Sure. So Maggie's gonna kind of walk with her out.
She actually calls an Uber, which is a new thing in Brindlewood. There are exactly 2 Uber drivers in Brindlewood Bay. And this one is a handsome redhead man named Archie.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey, Mrs. Valdez."
Oh, hello, Archie. How are you? Do you know Angela?
He's like, "No, I guess you're a tourist, right, Angela?" And Angela's just like, "Just take us to the bed and breakfast." And Archie's like, "Oh," Archie gives you a look like tourists. And it's like, okay. So you're in the car and you're pumping her for information. So I'm gonna say you cannot use presence because she isn't responding to anyone being nice to her. You're gonna have to instead keep calm as she's being like rude and standoffish.
Okay, so I'm using composure.
Yep.
Which is good actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm rolling meddling, I assume.
Yep, meddling move.
Okay, that's a 6 + 2 for my composure is a 10.
Okay, so you do get a full-on clue, but you don't get a...
Dave,
what does he not get?
Blind clue. Sorry.
We need to record you with that, just say. Stretch goal for the next Kickstarter, Dave. Dave will record Void Clue personally for you.
It's like a Staples button, but it's a Void Clue button.
Yeah,
There we go.
I love it. I'll back it just for that.
Okay. So she's like, oh my god. And she's being like gossipy, right? And she's like, oh my god, I don't even know why we came to this museum. Like, this class is so stupid. But like, people said that Professor Edwards gives like easy A's. So I'm like, why not? And like, yeah, now it's terrible that he's dead and all. But like, I was gonna get an easy A for this, you know? And like, come on, that museum is like totally gonna go out of business. That's what all the locals have been saying anyway. So that's your clue. Gossip that the museum is going out of business. Because they charge so little in tickets. Like, who wants to go there anyway? And like, I don't think it's a good business model. When I become a consultant for Bain, I'll totally like help like little quaint place like this do better. Like, they need to downsize their staff, right? Downsizing their staff, and they need to give more added value to the product so that their margins are good. You can tell, even you who's not a businessy person, you're a sciencey person, you can tell that she's pulling business words out of her butt.
Yeah.
That she's memorized for her case interviews that she's gonna do soon.
Okay. So I'm just sort of passively kind of encouraging her to talk, and yeah, eventually this comes out. And I guess I get to the bed and breakfast with her.
Yeah, you got the bed and breakfast, and we cut to Sauvignon. So Maggie, like I'm assuming Maggie, you gave Sauvignon like a wink as you like left, right, with the girls. Like, I'll investigate this.
Yeah.
Great. Sauvignon, you know Ruthie is in the galleries. What do you want to do? And Dr. Brown is like, oh, what? That was lovely. We sold something in the gift store. That never happened. Those lozenges have been there for I don't know how long. Lucky they never expire.
That's
because they're made of just chemicals.
I think that actually before I leave the building, I haven't really spent any time in the gallery with the dolls.
Yeah.
And I feel like I should just take a little look around the room, particularly the area where Bill was freaking out at having seen somebody.
Yeah. So Ruthie, you found this like broken bag. You're looking at it and then you hear that weird whispering, and then Sauvignon Blanc enters the gallery. And Sauvignon, so you see Ruthie, you see that she's pocketed a clue that you talk about, of course, whenever you want. But you see that Bill is at the end of the gallery at this door, looking suspiciously at this door and opening it and closing it and opening it and closing it.
So I feel like Bill has limits to what he's able to convey. But I do think that it would be worthwhile, not necessarily conversing with him, but approaching that general area and just looking at the dolls, just seeing if there's anything unusual or out of place in that area.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, especially near that door. Yeah. Yes. So roll with wits. What's it called? It is called, not wits in this game, reason.
Reason. I will happily roll with reason. I don't have either in a positive or a negative. I have a 0. So just 2 dice, right?
Oh, and I'm going to say we're going to speed up time a bit to make things more interesting. Sure. It is late afternoon at this point, and so it is getting later in the day. So at some point soon, the night moves are going to come into play.
And you have a +1 on reason. You start with 1.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay, because all right, well then that's good. I could certainly use 1. So that's great. So 2 dice plus my 1 for reason. Let's have a roll. I rolled a 5. +1 is 6.
Okay, so you can wear a crown or you can take the hard move I'll give you for this 6.
I wouldn't mind putting on a crown.
Yeah,
so that
and that will make your 6 become a 7 to 9.
Yes. So that's an improvement.
Yep, absolutely.
And then what I think I will do is have a flashback of my fondest memory of my late partner.
Aww.
Yes.
Oh, the chef, the dead chef.
The chef who some people have heard about incessantly, but who I miss very much and I'm very fond of. And one of the things that was really special to me was that I had never been very good in the kitchen. And there was a point early on where she tried to teach me simple things that we could make together. And so there were many times where we would get together, and as dates that we had when we were going out, we would, instead of going out to a restaurant or we would work in the kitchen together. And we actually had a lot of chemistry together in the kitchen. We worked really well. Some people can't be in the kitchen together. We actually were almost like a fluid machine. It was a really lovely way for us to express our affection to each other.
Aww. Tell me one thing you made together.
One thing that we made together, she had a Spanish and Italian background. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to make a pasta that had a sort of a Spanish flair to it. And so that was, she used seasonings and flavors from her childhood as part of this Italian dish. And it was a really delightful thing.
Aw, nice. Okay, so you put on the crown. So you get 7 to 9. So then there'll give you a complication because you're searching, and Ruthie, you're there too. So you find, let's see. What will this clue be? You guys are racking up the clues. Nice.
Good.
Okay, you find something that, okay, the door of the thing, that back door wasn't closing very well, because wedged in the bottom is a broken antique doll. Its head is broken open.
Oh.
So you think this is probably a storage room or something at the back?
Yeah.
However, the Bill notices you, and he turns like, "What are you doing here? Did you have anything to do with this? I saw someone in here. Was that you?" And he's like mad at you, and he's like menacingly approaching you, like. And Ruthie, you're there too, yeah?
Ruthie, help. Bill likes you more than he likes me.
Billy, what are you nattering on about?
And he's like, this woman here was like snooping around, and I saw someone move here.
Are you talking about Savi B? She didn't do shit.
And she looks at you both. Savi B.
Does she look like somebody who could do shit? She can't do shit. Billy, come on. Billy, come on. You need to sleep more.
She's wearing high heels. Never trust a woman with high heels.
Those are kitten heels. They're just a little bit. It's just like 2 inches. Billy, you need to take a nap.
He's like, not on the job, because
not
this
on the job,
isn't a
just
museum.
Like
The
in your life, Billy.
Like, the dolls are the blood, and he does that whole thing all over again.
Oh my boy, my Billy boy. I just don't know what to do for you. Maybe Sahi B has to make you some of her pasta. She's always talking about this pasta.
Yes, I would happily make him some of this pasta.
And he turned and he's like, I mean, I really like authentic Italian food.
Sure, whatever. We can bring it over to Tupperware. It's fine. Like we can do that.
Absolutely.
And he grumbles like, "Don't go nosing around in the storage area. You hear?"
We don't give a shit about your storage area. Like it's fine, Billy.
No, it's low blood sugar, Billy.
Okay, Maggie, you get to the bed and breakfast, and just for color, I'm gonna say it is starting to get dark.
Oh dear.
Right.
Well, it's
so the
nighttime,
night.
right? It's nighttime.
What was that?
It's nighttime.
Yeah. The night move will be coming into play, not the day move anymore.
Can someone sing night moves now?
What was that?
Can someone sing night moves?
Oh yeah,
night moves.
Yeah, Dave, you're our sonorous saint.
I can't sing anymore. It's getting too much. But anyway, imagine that night moves is happening right now.
I'll be like night move.
That's great.
Oh, okay. I was talking about the night moves, but it's fine.
Like the song, yes, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm foreign.
You get one more time, Sharang, and then that's it.
I'm gonna write you a commission story one day where the characters will keep saying I'm foreign.
They can say it 3 times, and that's the limit. All right.
I mean, you are editors, so okay. The bed and breakfast is there. There's you see a police car outside, a police jalopy outside.
Jalopy.
You see, I just like the word jalopy, which I learned from Archie comics when I was a kid.
Sorry. So I just want to hold space for you to understand that it's jalopy.
Oh, is it jalopy? Oh, see, I read this in Archie comics. I never heard the
So
word.
that was your third time, and you're done.
Because I'm foreign.
That was your third time. Jalopy.
Love it. No, I actually never heard that word before. I only read it, so good stuff. I don't know. It rhymes with sloppy.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so you have got to the, I have a location thing here, the seaside bed and breakfast. A little cottage with a wonderful view and lovely shrimp croissant. Professor Edwards has rented out all the rooms for his class, but what evidence do you see here to suggest that the students recently had an illicit little party?
Oh, I mean, I feel like there's, it's not as like big as like, discarded beer bottles, but there's probably like sort of the hints of that. There's like just stuff that's out of place, stuff that you don't typically see just in the yards in Brindlewood.
Yeah, to your shrewd medical mystery maven eye,
yes,
you can see all these slight, like, you're like, I'm talking that. And you see in the main periwinkle dining room, there's only one dining room, but it's called the periwinkle dining room, because of the color of the walls. You see 2 students, our new suspects. You see David, and you're like, I can't see his butt, but I'm pretty sure this is him.
Hang on. I don't think Maggie saw the video because Maggie was in the freezer at the time.
Oh, right. Maggie didn't get to see David's shapely butt.
So I've only ever heard about the butt, but
okay, so you're like, I'm remembering because Ruthie probably described it in detail.
Probably.
Sorry, Maggie, it very much so matches the description. Like if you heard about it, you've seen it,
There, yes.
Right. So he's not even sitting, he's standing, so you can see the shape.
And you're like,
of his
that's
butt.
it, that's the butt.
That's gotta be the butt.
He's wearing very tight-fitting jeans, right? So,
Right.
So he's actually wearing designer clothing, right? You can tell he's wearing expensive clothing. You can see on his jeans he's wearing I don't know, Dolce and Gabbana jeans. Do they make jeans? They make jeans now. I'm not caught up on designers. He's wearing an Armani shirt. You can tell he's wearing a lot of what's it called? What's the French designer who makes the Pour Homme cologne? It's just called Pour Homme, or it's called L'Homme.
Oh.
The shape of the bottle is like a nude male physique.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Say that again?
The Gautier one?
Yeah, Jean Paul Gaultier. Yeah, exactly. So he's wearing an excessive amount of Gaultier, like cologne, and then you remember the guard saying these kids are really smelly.
Oh yes.
And he is animatedly talking to another young woman. She has her hair in braids. She's black. She has her hair in braids. She's wearing jeans and a hoodie. She's wearing a International Students Association like hoodie, like that's written on her hoodie. And you can tell she's kind of like nodding along to what he's saying, like not super interested in what he's saying. And he's going on about what is he interested in? He's going on about rowing. Like he's talking about being on the crew team and how his parents, his dad and his grandfather, his great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather were all on the crew team. And he's talking about a famous race up at Dartmouth that they did and how his great-grandfather nearly won but was foiled at the last minute by a sneeze that put his rhythm off, and the young woman just like nodding like, boats.
Sure. Yeah, sneeze, it'll get you every time.
Yeah. Maggie, what do you do? And you see Kim, what was her name? Angela.
Kim, yes.
Gives you like a nod and like, okay, I'm gonna go work on this paper because like whoever replaces Professor Edward is gonna still want the paper, right? So I want an A. And she goes up to her room.
Of course, dear, of course. Pat. I want to have a look around the bed and breakfast now that I'm here, just to see if there's, I guess, any other clues that.
Yeah. So you're wondering when obviously if you're here, David like notices you. So he's like, and who are you? I thought this bed and breakfast was closed because of the investigation.
Oh yes, I just ran into your colleague Angela at the museum.
And he like sniggers.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me all about her work and how important it is. It is.
Oh yeah, her important work. Wow, like come on, that museum, super weird and creepy. But of course, Edward would like that kind of stuff.
Oh, was he very interested in the museum and the dolls?
He was just a weird man. Like I told him that, look, I'm a legacy. You can give me an A, right? And he was like, no, come to this weird ass creepy museum. I mean, obviously it's awful that he like died and shit, but like, come on.
It just follows. Did you ever notice anything weird about him, or you know, anything unusual in and around the town? Maybe at night.
Okay, you're making a meddling move. Let's see. What do you think you're using? I'm not entirely sure. Which score do you think you're using?
Oh God. I mean, I feel like presence is probably the natural one. But I will, if I can, yeah, I feel like presence makes no sense.
Great, presence works. You're like trying to be nice to him, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything in that, but I feel like that makes the most sense. Okay, that's a 3.
Oh no.
Oh.
You guys are making, okay, hard move time. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say you are, as when you entered the waiter, there's only one waiter here, handed you they're out of shrimp, right? They didn't go shopping today. Handed you a eel quiche.
Okay.
A slice of eel quiche. They call it quiche. Postmates. And you take a bite of the quiche as he's talking, and your throat starts to close up.
Oh no.
Oh no. Can I say?
You can put on a crown.
Well, I was actually going to try to use the Gold Crown Mysteries move.
Oh, once per session.
Oh, it's one per session. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, yes. I didn't read that part. Okay.
Oh, Maggie, just text us on your phone. Oh, wait. Do you have a phone?
I don't.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll put on the Crown of the Void, I guess.
Oh, you want to put a void crown on? Nice.
Because I just
Okay.
want to see what that does.
Yeah, and that fits in this weird situation, right? Okay, so you have to do the first one. Read it out.
Yes, so when you put on this crown, mark the first empty box, which is a shadow in the garden. Hereafter, during cozy vignettes focused on you or cozy move scenes involving you, you must also narrate how dark entities subtly reveal themselves in the scene.
Yeah, so as you do more Crowns of the Void, your mechanic changes. If you look at the second Crown of the Void, your reason goes down, but your sensitivity goes up, you know? So things happen as you do more of the Void. And as you do the last one, your character is lost to the Void. So,
Great.
okay, so, yeah. Okay, starting just for the flame, because you put this on, tell me a hint of darkness in this scene. How dark entities subtly reveal themselves to you.
Well, I think that in the quiche, perhaps the reason why it got stuck in her throat is that if you look very closely at it, the eel is still moving, just slightly.
Yuck.
The chopped up eel pieces in the quiche are still moving. I
Yeah.
love it. Wiggling. You're like, oh God.
Yeah.
But you got from a 2-3, it went up to a 7-9. So how do you manage to like not get, or does it just pass, or do you like shoot yourself with something from your medical bag, or what do you do?
Yeah, I think just it passes. It manages to wiggle in a way that suddenly it.
Yeah, you're like, whoa. And
fine.
Joey, not Joey, his name is David, right? So I have a real friend named Joey Anthony III, and I told him, I'm like, Joey, you know I use half your name or your full name every time I need to support rich kid in a game, right? And Joey is not even wealthy. His name is just Joey Anthony III. So, David is like, ma'am, are you okay?
And I
you see the student Mary gets up from a table and she's like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, I'm just fine, dear. What was that? That wasn't a shrimp.
Oh, they have these quiches. I don't know what Americans like in Ghana. You don't have things like that.
Oh dear, yes. I don't think I've ever had one of these before. No, stick to the shrimp croissants for me from now on.
And you're gonna find a clue, and then we'll cut scene. Because you did get a 7-9. So as she gets up, you see under the table, because she gets up, she moves the chair, right? So you see under the table, as if someone dropped it, and you can tell that you have sharp eyes, is a letter of rejection from the World Health Organization.
Okay.
Okay.
Like an important official letter, like, we are
Okay.
sorry, but we do not accept, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Cut. That's a clue, yeah?
Yes.
How many clues do we have now?
7?
That's a lot of clues. Nice. Good stuff. Okay. So Ruthie and Sauvignon. And remember, at any time you can be like, let's go home. We're gonna theorize. If you theorize might take a little bit of time, right?
Savia B, will you be? Do you mind like being in like a video really quick?
Sure, I'd be happy to be in a video really quick.
Okay, so I put on Matilda.
Yes.
I love it.
Amazing.
And
I like how you carry Matilda around everywhere.
That's right.
she's in my purse. So I put on Matilda, and I push record, and I give my phone to Savi B.
Yep.
And I start doing like a okay, welcome, thank you, viewers, watchers coming in live. So I'm here at the museum, and I start describing the dolls, but like the thing I'd like to do is the scene with the door and like the opening of the door, and like I've got that song stuck in my head that Maggie was singing when she left the freezer. And like I'm thinking about those shapes that Savi B kept describing with the ants. And I feel like when one of the other mavens are in danger, if I think about them really hard, I can like, we all just like go to each other. And I'm trying to do the occult move while on video.
Yeah, okay. So normally you can't do the occult move until you've learned something occult, but because you've had all this, you've actually done sensitivity stuff happen to you, you can try and reach out because it's been happening to you a lot today. So yeah, the occult move, roll with sensitivity.
Because I'm wearing Matilda, I think I get advantage.
Absolutely.
All right.
Five, one, and what?
And a 6.
Oh, okay. On
Well
a
done.
hit, it works. Work with the keeper to write the move. It is now a move all mavens can use for the rest of the campaign. So obviously you won't write the whole move now, but for the rest of the campaign, you can, when one of you is in danger, you can attempt
Yeah, when
to,
one
like,
of us is in danger, we like feel it and we can like go to each other. So I grab Savi B's hands and we go to Maggie.
Perfect. Yeah, you're like, yeah, we know. Okay, Sauvignon knows that she went to the bed and breakfast.
Yes.
So you're like, we should all go. Okay. So
Oh, but I mean like psychically, like we're transported to the location.
that would be another occult move, which you do not know how to do yet.
Oh, really?
but,
That comes later? So maybe we just know where they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you take an Uber.
Okay.
It's Archie.
The other Uber.
Oh yeah, it's Archie and Reggie.
Right.
I told you I'm thinking about Archie comics today. I don't know why. Apparently the new season of Riverdale is all about witchcraft, and the one before that is about superheroes. I'm like, what is up with this TV show? Anyway, so Reggie takes you guys there. At this point, Maggie, you have gotten over the weird thing, wriggly eel thing. And I'm going to say, because it is 10:16, let's congregate and do our theorizing.
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. So I will pull up the theorize move. Okay. When the Mavens have an open, freewheeling discussion about the solution to a mystery based on the clues they've uncovered and reached a consensus, we will roll plus clues minus complexity. Okay. So first off, let's go through the clues and let's theorize what was happening. What is this mystery? What happened? Remember, in this game, you can add details that I did not say. For example, Maggie, you've studied the body.
Mhm.
There are details that you noticed when studying the body, for example, right? All three of you snooped around the galleries. There are details there. You've all met the suspects. There are details there that you noticed, right? So can we read out the clues again?
We can.
Not the void clues, remember.
Ah, okay.
Regular clues.
So where's number one?
you just
Number
put the
one
list?
was number one the YouTube video.
Yes.
So that's number one.
YouTube video of David running naked in the night.
In the street. Number two was the opinion piece.
Yeah, about how the museum is modernizing too much and
That's right. Number three was the dictionary of Sanskrit that was hollowed out and had the bottle of very strong sleeping pills. And number four was the failing grade essay. And number five was the gossip about the museum going out of business. Number six was the broken antique doll that was wedged in the door. And then number seven was the WHO rejection.
And if you want to count a clue to your score, you have to incorporate it into your theory, right? You can't.
Sorry, we also missed the Brass Museum badge, which is
the
also.
Brass Museum badge.
Oh, yes.
So I guess we have 8.
Yeah.
8.
So
Very
in
nice.
order to count a clue, you have to incorporate. You can't just be like, oh, the Brass Museum badge, it must have been this XYZ, and then add 8. You're going to be adding 1. Okay?
Okay.
And remember, your suspects are Lillian Atherton, local history buff, Mary Boateng, a Chill student, David Anthony III, the rich kid, Angela Kim, wannabe valedictorian, Dr. Manmohan Subramaniam, visiting scholar of history, Dr. Chanel Brown Willoughby, she has 2 last names, I forgot to say that, curator of the museum, and Bill Fimbley, security guard. Pimply Guy, Archie, and Reggie are not suspects.
Okay.
I don't know. I saw this shape in the background of the YouTube video, and like, I don't know, based off of their haircut, like maybe it was Angela or maybe it was Atherton.
Like maybe they were filming it, or maybe they were involved in.
I mean, they're on the little hillside. Do you want me to show you the video again?
Yeah, I didn't get to see
She hasn't seen the nice butt.
But
Yeah,
like
the butt.
in the
It's
background of the butt. In the background of the butt.
It's hard to see anything but the butt because the butt is very striking.
The butt's very front and center.
You have to be able to look past the butt. It's in the background.
I do
Yeah.
not know.
Looks like looks like Angela to me, and it looks like maybe she was partying with David at the time this was taken.
She
And even
certainly has a motive in that she was being failed by the professor in question.
Well, and it seems like he wasn't a very popular professor, all things considered. It sounded like David had some issues with him. Sounded like Mary, is that the name of the would-be
Mary
novel?
Boateng, the international student.
Yes.
Yes.
Mary was also losing out on some opportunities. I wonder if that was due to unsavory grades.
I don't know. She looked like a goth, but she didn't know any of the music. So I feel like she's just a liar.
She's just inherently suspicious in that case.
I just think she's a liar. I think she's a liar.
What about the other clues? Are any of them relevant?
I mean that the letter from the Who, that not the band, the Who.
Yes, the WHO.
I
yes.
mean, was that an internship and Angela didn't get it?
And the opinion piece, was that something that Angela used when writing her failing essay?
I mean, she's not a local, but maybe she like wrote it ahead of time or something. I don't know.
Well, it's
And-
also.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's also possible that it was planted on the body in order to
Distract
and perhaps indicate that one of the museum people related to the museum were involved.
Yeah, maybe
I
someone's trying
like how you're
frame.
thinking, Maggie.
Maybe someone's trying to frame Billy or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm also wondering if she's not responsible for for giving Chanel the bottle of pills.
Mm.
Maybe she's trafficking in these pills or something.
Maybe she's the
why she
college drug
escaped.
dealer.
Yeah, and maybe that's why she escaped out that little door and knocked over the doll that was wedged there.
Hmm.
What are we missing?
I know. I'm trying to see if we can get all of the.
We can get all of them in.
You might be able to.
Well, and you know what? And you know what? Everybody else in that museum, they had a badge on, and she didn't have a badge on.
Yeah. Well, there you
Right?
go.
Because you saw when you entered, you all got badges. And she
Everybody
wasn't
else had a
wearing
badge. She didn't have a badge.
So
Yeah,
there you go.
the dented badge must have fallen off.
It was Angela's
Yeah,
all along. It was Angela all along, and she's not even really a goth.
she's not even a goth. This must
She
have
just
been.
wears that T-shirt. She bought it at Hot Topic.
one. Okay, so
Oh, well.
quickly recap, step by step, all the clues and how they fit into the theory. Go.
Yes, so it was Angela.
So the video of David running on the streets on YouTube. Obviously, he was high on the drugs that Angela provided him.
Yeah.
Sleeping pills.
Yes, and therefore.
Yeah. So you're like, we know that she's connected to the drug.
And it had a
trade.
contraindicated effects. Maggie,
Yeah.
tell them about those.
Yeah, definitely.
It does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. You know, you're a doctor.
Super dangerous. And when I examined the body, it was clear that he had some foaming at the mouth, which is a classic symptom of
What did I tell you?
dosing.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Next clue.
She's a liar.
And
You know that.
the op-ed, which was obviously planted on the body, in order to frame poor Billy at the museum, who
or Lillian,
Lily.
who also doesn't like
Lillian.
the modern
Sabi
name.
B, you gotta make him the pasta.
From the recipe book.
I will make him the pasta. He's a poor guy. He's
I
trying.
have an extra Tupperware. I can bring it over for you.
Yeah.
You also have a nice bowl.
We can
yes,
put it in your
That's
bowl,
true.
the one with the stupid bowl on it that you love.
Yes, well, it's very true. The fool is not stupid.
I mean, sorry, it's really good size for putting pasta inside.
Okay, next.
and the dictionary with the sleeping pills inside, obviously again supplied by Angela as part of her drug trade.
Of course.
Her web of lies is more like it.
Yes. The essay covered a failing grade, clear that she was not doing well, that she was, not going to become valedictorian. She was not going to succeed, and also was at risk of being found out because of the drug trafficking. The museum badge, the dented museum badge, obviously fell off while she was in
out the door.
Yeah.
And knocked off that antique doll.
Yes, exactly. And
She's a klutz. She's not just a thief and a liar, she's a klutz.
yes. And same with the letter of rejection from the HWO. That also just indicates more motive, more reason that she needed to get the professor out of her way so that she could succeed.
Tell him.
Nice. Okay. Love that. So you have a theory with 8 clues incorporated. So one of you gets to roll the theorize move. You would roll plus the number of clues, which is 8, minus the mystery's complexity, which I'm going to reveal to you is 5.
Okay.
So you would add 3 to your roll in total.
Okay.
Who is making the roll?
Can 2 people each roll 1 die?
Yes. And then the third person
Maggie and
adds the
Snotty
3.
B, can you make these rolls?
Oh
Yeah,
God.
Maggie's going to make the rolls, and then Ruthie adds them together with the 3.
I'm the
All
3.
right. All right. I'm rolling 1d6.
Mhm.
And then Maggie, roll another d6.
All right. I have rolled.
Yes, so have I. I have a
What-
3.
I have
3.
4.
3 and 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10.
Okay. So, so 10 is the correct solution.
Good.
So as you guys are talking about this theory outside, you hear a voice like, guys, I'm gonna go for a walk outside. I need to clear my head to write this paper. If I need to get an A, I need to get an A. And you
Right.
see coming outside is Angela. And she's walking outside, and coming back to the car is Sergeant Trofton. He's holding a tray of sea urchin cookies.
This town.
Sukis, they're called here.
You mean Sergeant Porterhouse?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
And what do you want to do? Like epilogue, close out the scene as you see she's coming out and the detective is there and you three are there. How does this end?
I need Matilda.
So first, Matilda appears.
So
Maggie, you do it. Maggie, you do it.
Well, I mean, Maggie's not a particular friend of the police. So she is going to stick out her foot and trip Angela as she walks past.
Good.
Angela's like, she like topples over.
And then Sauvignon Blanc goes over to her and pins her down and says, "We have the evidence. We know it was you who was responsible for Professor James Edwards's murder." And
Detective Porterhouse is like, "Hey, what are you old biddies doing here? What's wrong? What's going on?"
And I start filming him on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, right.
Live streaming. Detective Sergeant, we have done your job when you cannot. We have found your culprits.
And he's like, "What?" Like in a comical sitcom way. Like,
Yeah.
"What?" And then you like explain to him, and he's like, "Oh, young lady, you are under arrest." And what is the last scene we see?
You can't arrest me. We're on YouTube.
No, you're not a young lady, you old biddy.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
What is the last scene we see of the Mavens?
I was going to make a suggestion of like a tendril of darkness coming out to grab one of the cookies, but that's not of the Mavens.
Yeah, don't worry. I have an epilogue scene about
Okay.
it. Don't worry.
Okay.
The last scene you see of me is me trying to figure out how to reverse the video camera after I accidentally turn it on myself, and it's like up my nose, and I'm trying to get this police officer leaving.
That's a great ending. And it's
Excellent.
like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, Ruthie. And we end there, and the credits roll. And then post credits, there's a scene. So how many void clues did we get?
Well, 2 and a glimmer of conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump because of one, so I'm gonna cheat a bit. Normally you reveal information as you get slowly more and more void clues, but I'm gonna assume we have more void clues than we do. Post-credit scene. Let's see. Okay, post-credit scene. By the beach, right? By the beach of Brindlewood Bay, there is a series of plaques and informational panels and pamphlets and things. And a figure is reading one of them, right? One of them is, "Did you know in the summer of 1877, the crew of the whaler Deep River set out from Brindlewood Bay, but they returned not with a whale, but the strangest animal anyone had ever seen. It had tentacle-like legs and rows of oily black eyes. The Deep River sold the parts from this creature to buyers all over the world, and the proceeds were used to turn Brindlewood Bay into the thriving tourist port town it is today." It says on on the pamphlet. And the figure looks at the pamphlet, crumples it, and throws it onto the sand, not even in a bin, polluting. And they look up, and you see the distinct pimply face of the ice cream vendor, and you hear him whisper, "The midwives of the fragrant void will rise again."
Nice.
Knew I didn't trust him.
And then it's the end. And then it's the end. So I made the move. A character the Mavens believed was an ally or friend is revealed to be a member of the midwife.
Oh.
And I did, there's all these little bits of history of Brindlewood Bay. I revealed one of those. So that was Jason Cordova's Brindlewood Bay. The new, you can check out this edition on Drive Through RPG and things, but the new edition will be coming out soon. And this mystery was called Lies and Dolls for a Very Brief Tenure by Sharang Biswas. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, viewers, for watching, for donating to the cause, because it's a very important cause. Thank you for giving us attention, because we are artists and we want that. Thank you for laughing with us and all that good stuff. I'll let everyone introduce themselves. This time, you introduce yourself, give a little shout out to a project that is coming out that people can find you or see or whatever. And then we'll close. And then I think our host will close up the night. So let's start with David Sauvignon Blanc.
So I am and was David Demchuk, writer responsible for The Bone Mother and Red X and programming CanCon coming this fall, and we welcome your attendance virtually and physically. So that's pretty much it for me.
Woot! And playing Ruthie, we have Dave.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. Still Dave, still here at Neon Hemlock. I guess another project aside from Izzy's collection I'm excited about right now is We're Here 2021. The best queer speculative fiction is at the printer right now. And I'd love if you bought a copy, and then I can afford to distribute them. So, and also
I have a story in there.
One of the stories in that book belongs to none other than your adventure writer and GM of this evening, Sharang Biswas. So,
Hooray!
Awesome. And Erin.
I have been Erin Rockfort, and I'm on Twitter at Pineapple Fury. I also have a podcast that you can find through that. That hasn't updated in a while because life stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I also work on CanCon, so if you're in and around Canada or outside of it, check that out. I also have an upcoming story in the Nothing Without Us 2 anthology, which I think is launching in September. It's a collection of stories by disabled people about disabled characters. So if you could pick that up, that would also be cool.
Nice. And I am Sharang Biswas. I am a game designer, writer, and interactive artist. And you can find me on Twitter at Sharang Biswas. I'm working on a couple of games, but they're going to take a while. So I have an upcoming story in Lightspeed magazine called When Shiva Shattered the Time Stream. And it is very short and is inspired by feelings of my divorce. Yay! Joyful. I talked to my ex-husband, and I'm like, you know that our divorce inspired so many angsty stories. He's like, I'm glad you're earning money from this.
That's
so check that out. I don't know when it's going to be. I think it's releasing in fall. It's a flash fiction. But check that out. And remember, Lightspeed's free. Check out all these speculative fiction magazines, and all of us have contributed to one or another at some point, and support us. So thank you again. Thank you for your support of the charity. Thank you for your support of independent authors. Thank you for being cool and giving up a 3-hour chunk of time to watch us play old biddies solving mysteries.
That was us.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
Perfect. Hell yeah. So I'm gonna transition. Okay, give us a wave, folks. I'm gonna transition to our lovely end credits screen. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, that was Brindlewood Bay. Again, Sharang put it incredibly well, so I'm not gonna add anything else to that. That was excellent. Just want to say on behalf of myself and Mike and our lovely host Greg Wilson, thank you for joining us tonight. Our next game will be in August. Keep an eye on our website and social media for that, for updates on that. And yeah, thank you to folks who have donated, and thank you to folks who are tuning in. Again, you can check out our prize wall and let us know if you've donated to one of our spotlight charities. Do some good that way, and yeah, have a good rest of the night, and go solve some mysteries or something of your own.
Or make them.